Good times. I think that was what the sign.
Now I get it.
Welcome, everyone. This is the January 20th, 2026 meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. Please let the record reflect that in the conference room, we have Commissioners Jordan, Waldrop, and Kearns. Online, we are joined by Commissioner French, and I believe we'll be joined at some point this morning by Commissioner Cuney virtually as well. We are going to start off today with Mike Burgess, Spokane County lobbyist. Take it away, Mike.
Morning, commissioners. Just a little bit shorter today, probably than we were last week. We are on day 9 of the session. I think I told you that the next big cutoff or the next date of importance is February 4th. So that's a policy committee cutoff. If it's okay with you, I'm just going to run through this bill list and update you on the bills that we talked about last week and what has happened with them, and then have a couple other ones for you to take a look at. And then I can answer any of your questions at the end. Just transitioning the bill list, the first bill, 2201, that was the that urban growth area development regulations bill. It did have its hearing last week. Signed and opposed to that, and then but nothing's been scheduled to happen with the bill yet. So it's got to be scheduled to be voted from committee before anything happens. I haven't heard whether or not there's any intention to move the bill, but I have some conversations today, so I'll check in on that and maybe have more information next week. The next one, 2358, that's the aquifer recharge bill that we liked. Had a hearing last week, but nothing has been scheduled with the House version, 2358. But if you go down there, a couple down, 6016 also had its hearing, so that's the Senate companion. And it is scheduled for exec to be voted from committee on the 22nd. So that bill is doing what it should be doing. 2416 is the waste to energy bill. It has its hearing this afternoon. And also, I gave you bad information last week. I know, Scott, I think you had sent an email out to the commissioners about the bill. I think I probably said it was an exemption from the CCA. That's not the case. It kind of gives, I guess, what I would call kind of a compliance ramp up for the bill. And Scott, if you want to describe it another way, or if we need to cover that, but I just wanted to clean that up, that what I had said was not accurate.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Mike, so
Yeah.
is the House and the Senate companion then on the waste to energy basically the same or similar language then?
They're the exact same bill.
Okay.
And then, like I said, the hearing on the House bills today, nothing's been scheduled on the Senate bill, which I wouldn't read anything into that right now. Especially in a short session when there's companion bills. A lot of times, if the Senate knows there's a House version, they'll just wait for the House to deal with it before they do, and vice versa. So I don't read a lot into that about it not getting a hearing, the Senate version.
Mike,
Yes.
through the email chain that started last week, I've been connected with Rob Duff, who's been.
Oh, sure. Great.
Just want to let
Great.
you know. So they've asked me to testify, so I will be doing that this afternoon.
Okay, good. I'll sign us in, but otherwise, I was gonna say testimonies. Commissioner, are you signed in and taken care of?
Chrissy, no, I'm not currently.
Well, you just have to do it by an hour before the hearing, and it's at 4 o'clock. So, I mean, you clearly have time.
Sorry.
Okay, apparently I am signed in.
Okay. It's always good to have somebody handle your life. Yes, I need one of those.
And they did confirm that the House is the vehicle that they're going to focus on moving. So.
Oh, okay. I hadn't heard that, so that's good to hear. And then the next one is 6026. That's second from the bottom. That was the bill about residential development in commercial areas. I know we had some concerns and questions about that. I'm still connecting with some colleagues on that one, some more to come, but it is scheduled for exec this week. I need to check for amendments because there was testimony given that had some of the similar concerns that you all had raised last week when we talked about the bill. So I want to see if there's amendments to address that, and then we'll continue to talk about this bill. because it is gonna move from committee. Usually if a bill gets scheduled, it's gonna move. So I would anticipate it to move and continue to be something we talk about for as long as it keeps moving. Back up to kind of the list of items. I saw the email traffic on the Superior Court judge legislation. I don't know if we've heard anything additional on that yet, or not. Fine if we haven't, but just wanted to throw that out there if there's anything to update on that.
The Board of Judicial Administration is going to discuss our request at their meeting today.
Okay.
Emails from Senator Riccelli, and Mike, maybe you have better contact with him than I have had, makes it seem like even if the BJA makes it a priority for them this session, there won't be an amendment to the bill unless Spokane County kind of commits to fund the position rather than just saying, please create the position, we'll fund it as we can, which is kind of what our resolution says right now.
Okay, so I guess we'll wait and hear what comes back, and then at that point, it sounds like commissioners, you have some decisions to make. Does that sound about right?
Yep.
Okay. Next bill is a new one. Just
Could
oh.
I just
One second.
wait?
yeah, for sure, Commissioner.
So the process, I'm reading through the long email string here.
The preferred process is that Spokane County would get their request to the Board of Judicial Administration in the summer so they could review it, have it included on their priority list. And we made the request resolution in December, so it didn't make their summer timeline.
Right,
So it's not on the priority list right now.
right. We knew all that last week.
Yes.
And so then we did send a letter in saying, will you still consider us? It's basically,
Yes.
okay, and we have the data and everything we attached the data or whatever they wanted to see that we have the need.
Yes, the last needs assessment was based on 2019 data, 2020 report. That's the most recent. It sounds like there may be another one in 2027, but we have given them the most recent data.
I reached out to Tony Hazel, who's the new Superior Court presiding judge, and he's reached out as well on his own to Office of Administrator of the Courts to try and make a case, and he was not even aware of this. This process, I think, is relatively new that they came up with on their own, but there's nothing in statute that requires this BJA. They have their own process, which I think Senator Riccelli quotes here in the email exchange. But that's just their own made up process, right? I mean,
Yes.
there's nothing in statute that says you need to follow BJA's process.
That's my understanding.
Okay. So anyway, I think it's just frustrating, and I think I just wanted to make a mention that I think the Superior Court judges are reaching out, trying to also advocate. But we'll see what the response is after today, right? This BJA committee is going to look at our letter and get back to us.
Absolutely, today,
Okay.
we think.
I want to just caution that I feel like Senator Riccelli was trying to just do us a favor by doing some research, but now I don't want to get him caught up in drama between, the Office of the Administrator of the Courts and, so we probably just need to figure out, once we hear back from them, do we want to move forward? And, the commitment to funding is just something that the BJA has as part of their process. So I was mistaken. That's part of BJA's process. It's not in statute.
So if the BJA jumps their normal process and grants our request today, supports our request today,
Yeah.
it's still going to require a legislative sponsor to amend the bill.
Right.
I feel like my guess is if that came back as a favorable recommendation, it'd be easier to get the sponsor. I would assume we still have time, right? Because the cutoff wouldn't. details
We-
later.
We do, Commissioner. I mean, it's close, right?
Yeah.
But those bills are not complicated to draft, and there are other bills out there. I don't know though that we can amend on to those. I would have to double check that. Because there's, yes,
Do you know what our cutoff date would be to amend that bill to add
it's the 3rd, or excuse me, February 4th.
it's the
We'd
fourth?
have to have the hearing and have the bill voted from committee by the 4th.
This seems like it's one of those, this is the process we like, but like everything in this realm, if you have the votes, you can get whatever you want. So,
I know,
so.
Yeah.
with
There
those-
are rules to follow until there aren't, is the way I would say it.
right, I just sensitive that. You know, whoever, if we do end up running our own bill, we just would be, I just don't wanna have any legislator go sideways with some of these organizations unintentionally, you know.
So can we assume that if the word comes back with a thumbs up from this group, that we would be working on getting that sponsor right away and not waiting till next week? I'm just worried about time and kind of get the bill introduced.
I intend to run into a few of your delegation members today, and this is on my list to mention to kind of set the table, as it were. So,
Commissioner French?
So I did meet with Superior Court Judge Anderson here last week. And, you know, I guess I'm wondering why we are doing this Herculean lift when we don't have the money to fund it. Why don't we just go through the process and get it into session next year? I guess I'm not understanding what the urgency is when we know that we don't have the money to fund it.
I can,
So I think there were a lot of people that wanted us to get
Yeah.
that step out of the way.
Yeah.
So we thought, okay, I think everyone knows the point Commissioner French just made. We don't have the dollars right now, but I think there were a lot of folks that viewed it as sort of a good faith, down payment of at least getting this out of the way to show that we are committed at some point in the future, adding those additional judges. But yes, you're completely correct, Mr. French. The dollars aren't there. So I mean.
Well, and
which is
I've met with
Sorry, go ahead.
Judge McKay, Judge Hazel, and Anderson, and all three of them, and said, we go into next year, that's fine. We don't have the money to pay for it. We don't have the courtroom to put them in. So I guess, my point is, I don't want to spend political capital on something that, doesn't have a true sense of urgency.
I agree with your comments, and also, if we get in a position where we do have the funding, if we've got the authorization now, we don't have to be delayed later. So I think this is a efficiency for the future push, and we've already got the request before this group. So if it's a thumbs up from them, and if it's a relatively easy road from there, then I say, let's get this off our list so we're ready to go when that money comes.
Well, let's see what they say this afternoon. And yeah, if they give the green light and say, you're clear, yeah, make the request to a legislator to amend it, Mike. That throws the ball into your court. If the legislators tell us no, you didn't follow the right process, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But
yeah, just have somebody reach out to me and let me know.
sounds good.
Okay. Next item, 2442. Ron, if you could pull up that bill report I sent you. This is a bill that has a lot of kind of different fiscal flexibility type things for local government in it. I want to make you aware of it. It has its hearing is going on right now. But it's something that will be in play, I think, for the remainder of the session. I'm not expecting you all to give a position on it today. But there's just a lot of items in it that I think we've talked about in the past in terms of REIT flexibility. There's different local option tax for housing. There you can see what the different items are. And when you go further into the bill report, it talks about what the uses of that REIT would be. So, like I said, I think this is more than anything just to make you aware of this bill. I think commissioners, if you could spend a little time, as though you don't have enough to do, but reading through this bill report, and we'll see how the hearing goes and what the prospects are for this bill. But it is a Wasac priority, local government priority for that matter. And just wanted you to get it on your radar screen, and I think we might be talking about it further. It's also reasonable to say, there's there's specific sections of this bill you like more than others. There's just different ways to comment on it. But again, wanted to throw it out there for you, and encourage you to spend a little bit of time with that bill report. I did not email it to you each individually. I can do that, or if somebody on that end does it, which would you prefer? Want me to send it to you commissioners directly?
Yeah, Gina actually sent some of the information on this towards us, or to us this morning.
Okay, well, I'll do it anyway, just to make
Okay.
sure you have it. But again, just spend some time with it, and like I said, I think we'll revisit it. I'm happy to answer any questions now, but I didn't want to throw it out to you for like a detailed discussion this morning. Just again, making you aware.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. And then one item I was going to add, but just would do it verbally. There is a bill out there dealing with tax increment financing. One of the provisions, or one of the items on the legislative agenda, about Commissioner French in particular. I know you have an interest in this. This bill 2451, it it adds the public safety as an eligible use, public safety facilities. It says it differently, but essentially that's what it does. So I'm gonna reach out to the prime sponsor of that bill and see if there isn't a way to add the TIF you use, because the statute in that bill in 2451 is not the one you use. So we would need to be added into that, assuming that's something that you as commissioners want to pursue. Please, Commissioner French.
So the 2451 bill, I read that, and it's specifically about 114 and doesn't even touch on 89 or 3989 and stuff. So the bill 3989 is still in what the drafting stage, and that hasn't come out yet. I'm reaching out to Volts to find out what's the status of it. More to come, but yeah, the 2451 bill doesn't deal with anything that we're concerned with.
Well, but Commissioner, my plan was to reach out to the prime sponsor and see if we can't add out the RCW we use.
I think it's a totally separate bill, but I mean, if they can do a crossover, great, but that's fine.
They should be able to reference the TIF statute you use. I don't know why they
Okay.
wouldn't be able to, but
Oh, that's fine.
okay.
Okay,
All
thanks.
right. More to come as I learn on that. That is all I have on my end today, commissioners. If you have any questions, please now or follow up.
Mike, any word or any rumblings about any of the legislation having to do with public defender caseload standards?
There were a couple bills that have had hearings. One, I think, was to set up a work group. But I will make a note to add that to the list to update you on next week.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I know there was the 2163, the Richards bill, but
Yeah, there's two or
haven't
three.
scheduled for anything.
There's two or three of them out there, Commissioner.
Okay,
But I'll add that a note to bring that up with you next week.
thank you.
You got it.
Anything else for Mike? Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank y'all. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay, is Joey here? Is he gonna be online?
Gina's just going to check.
Okay. Not here yet? Okay, we have, no, we don't, do we have Erin online yet? Looks like she's her item should be short. So,
If you are the one way down the list that I'm on.
well,
There's a few, right? There she is.
yep, she is. We'll do Aaron. Aaron,
Good morning.
good morning. We're gonna take things a little out of order and we're gonna jump to you because we're still waiting on the individual who was gonna go before you. So we're
Yeah.
bumping you up in the line.
Sounds good. Hey, just a really quick briefing. The Fair and Expo has been awarded lodging tax funds from the city of Spokane Valley for our marketing and security efforts for the 2026 fair. We've been awarded $27,189. And I'm briefing you today and request that you approve this agreement on the January 27th agenda. Any questions?
Any questions for Aaron? Nope. That sounds great.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.
Bye. I was also asked, so I'll just jump to a miscellaneous item, was also asked to make sure we're all good with February 12th for that joint meeting with the city. I would ask folks to kind of put a hold in their calendars, make sure that worked, but I guess that was a date that the city said worked for them. February 12th it's like the placeholder that came through was 10 to 1. It's like, Commissioner French?
Yeah, are you in miscellaneous now?
Just until our next presenter gets here. Yeah.
Well, I have a miscellaneous if you don't mind, so either now or later.
Well, all right. Okay. But is everybody good with February 12th still?
Yeah.
Okay, then Ron will transmit that back over to the city that it works for us and make sure we can get the room at the health district. Okay, thumbs up. Okay, Commissioner French, go for it.
So as we're closing in on the comp plan update and stuff, the one thing I was struck by in our housing countywide planning policies is that we do not talk about home ownership. We just talk about housing inventory. And I think, it's well documented that neighborhoods where you have the opportunity for home ownership are safer communities, they're healthier communities. And so I'm going to be presenting to the steering committee next week a request to amend the countywide planning policies to add to the policy that our target is 70% inventory available for home ownership. It doesn't mean that every home is owned, but it means that it's available for home ownership. I think this is a policy that will help build stronger, healthier, safer neighborhoods. As we go through the allocation process now, I think we want to be able to encourage and support home ownership. One of the reasons for this is that I saw a report last week that showed that the city of Spokane, their total home permits for the year was only 145. 145. The county was almost 900. So we really need to focus on our priorities. And I think one of our priorities is home ownership. So just wanted to bring that before the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Commissioner French? No. Commissioner CUNY, see you unmuted?
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to the other comment on the 12th. Is there's supposed to be a special Board of Health meeting that day. There's a hold in our calendars for timing for that. So We'll just have to check and see with the health district if the space is going to be available and timing.
Yeah, they updated the invite there. It says tentative, but they updated it to where it would be from 1 to 5. So it would be after the
Afternoon.
time
Okay.
that was blocked out with the city. But yeah, the first request, the first calendar hold overlapped, but they did adjust it. So now it looks like it would
Okay.
follow. So if all of that works out, it would. If everyone
Yes, a lot of
sticks
them.
to the proposed calendar, then it works. So,
Okay,
yeah.
sounds good. Okay, thanks.
Yep. Okay, and we're joined by Joey Gunning from GSI. Joey, can talk about SEDS?
Yeah.
It's seems like we were just talking about
It does
SEDS.
seem like
Yeah,
it. Yeah, thanks for having me.
yeah, take it away.
Yeah, so as part of our mandate as the county designated ADO for Spokane, through the State Department of Commerce, we are required to lead regional planning efforts. And so we do that through the development and implementation of SEDS. So we've initially kicked this process off 5 years ago. We received an EDA grant to hire a consultant to help do the convening and strategy development. And that launched Thrive Spokane is what we called it. So that officially launched in 2022. And so now we're, and it's a 5-year strategic plan. So it's going to expire in June of next year. So now we are kicking off the process to redevelop that, refresh it. Obviously, a lot has changed in the last 5 years. And so the letter that I had sent is an ask to support the SEDS planning process. There's a section that talks about in-kind support. That's really just for our partners that are really going to be engaged in the planning process. So all of the PDAs are signed on for in-kind support. They'll be actively involved in the strategy meetings and the development of it. But really what the EDA is looking for is broad regional support. And so it's pretty critical that we get support from the county for this process. So that's really the ask is, and that's why I'm here, and happy to take questions if there are any, but.
It looks like there is a line here that has a blank in it, and it says that not only does organization name, it says to fill, but support the EDA funding, but also provide, and then it says insert in-kind services here and estimated value. Is there a dollar amount? Is there something you're looking for the county to provide as far as funding or in-kind support, or is that GSI's funding or in-kind support that would fill that line?
That would be, I would not anticipate the county providing in-kind support. That would be like Chris Pangra of S3R3 would offer his staff time because he's going to be at the meetings, helping us really, we're going to have monthly SEDS meetings.
Okay.
I don't anticipate I would anticipate you can ignore that
Okay.
section of it. It's
Okay.
really just showing your support for the process.
Okay. Commissioner French?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Out of the last said process, what was a priority project that we accomplished?
Yeah, I think there's a couple. I think the Tech Hub designation was a big one. I think we really we used SEDS backing to support the Tech Hub designation to kick that process off. The other one was it supported the Economic Recovery Core Fellow Daria, who's been in our region for 2 years, focused on the growth of the creative economy. So she's been working really closely with Jesse in the Northeast PDA. We were able to launch Spokane County's first ever state certified creative district, which is a really big win for the region. And she's helped unlock about $500,000 in funding for that area. So that was all supported by a SEDS goal to grow the creative economy coming out of the SEDS. And there's different recruitment projects. Commissioner, I believe you were working on a recruitment project that asked for SEDS support. And so I think it helps us our competitiveness of our region. It helps us to attract and recruit business as well as support in local initiatives as well.
All right, any other questions for Joey? Scott?
So Joey, on the phone, are you able to pull up the letter? What do the commissioners need to have in this letter? I believe it's on there. You need it by this Friday.
It's on today's.
It's on today's
2 o'clock.
extent, so need to make sure the letter is refined. So where it says like, not only does
Spokane County support the application for immediate funding, but we will also provide in-kind support. You're saying we don't need to say that. And then the next one starts with our matching share of provided will be committed solely. So what is the language that the commissioners need to have in
I
the?
would remove that because there won't be a matching share from the commissioner. So I would remove the paragraph, that whole paragraph on in-kind, and I should have sent you a separate template. But yeah, that whole in-kind paragraph and the following can be removed from the language because there won't be any matching share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you could send a revised letter over to Gina.
Yeah.
Or can adopt that, look at it this afternoon to adopt.
Can you remind, what's the timeline for the SEDS process? Cause the last one I remember it took quite a while.
Yeah.
The last one. So what is the desired?
Yeah, so we kicked off the actual SEDS planning process in June of 2021. And we launched the SEDS in June of 2022. So it was a year-long process.
Yeah.
So it'll be about the same. We're not starting from square one like we were 5 years ago, and so maybe a little quicker, but we're currently in the process of applying for another EDA grant, hoping to kick off the true planning development process this summer for an official relaunch by next summer. So roughly a 12-month period of actual planning, goal development, partner engagement. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it was that long ago, honestly. but-
It's
I was thinking, I was like, yeah, this was in like 23, wasn't it? Maybe completed 24, but wow, okay.
5 years goes fast, and it really does, yeah, that it really strengthens our ability to apply for EDA federal funding, and so that's really the crux of why we do this, why we're doing this work, so.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody else has any other questions, and Joey will get us an updated version of the letter. And it's on today's 2 o'clock.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're joined by Tori Peterson from Juvenile. Take it away.
Thank you. I'm here to brief you on my intent to, and I'm gonna use this word, try to get this grant application accomplished. It's through the Office of Victims of Crime. And it's to continue services that ESD is currently providing for all of our kids, specifically girls, under our jurisdiction. This grant, they are about to lose a grant that they're providing these services for. So this grant would allow for that continuation. And then my intent is to also add in funding for a probation counselor to then carry an all-girls caseload. And this is specifically for services, early intervention and prevention of sex treatment, which is work we already do and been heavily involved in, actually required by law to screen for. So ESD has a grant writer who is willing to help me. I just don't have capacity, and we've already met and what assistance that I can get. So this is for up to $497,000 over a 3-year period, 36 months with no match required.
So the grant is, you're partnering with ESD,
Would be a subcontract.
so they would be the applicant or?
No, we would.
Okay,
And I've already met with Heather just on process here and timelines, because I really need to be out of the country starting in February, and this is due February 24th. So that's what I say my intent to try hard to get this accomplished.
well, they do a good job there. They seem to do very well with their grant writing and bringing in different grants, so.
So I'm lucky she's willing to help. And
So would
this-
they benefit from some of the funds for other purposes, or would it all be for
No, it'd be
our work
ongoing,
here?
yeah,
Okay.
ongoing services that are provided by them to our kids. Again, specifically girls, and then I want to add in, hopefully to, offset some of the pain that my probation department took in losing 3 positions, so. Add one back in there for specific caseload for girls, because no surprise that the vast majority of girls are at risk of victimization. Partnerships, I have a grant through DCYF with a vet at St. Margaret's, specific around CSEC. Or the CSEC task force locally, so we're ahead of the game as far as services we provide and already having processes.
we just did that proclamation last week, so. Just wondering if, so what is it through, what's the federal?
Office for Victims of Crime.
Okay, just wondering if we should loop in John Colt, if he could be of any support. Sometimes he knows how to, just, I know it's not, it's going to a administrative office, but
Mhm.
he may have some ideas how he can be supportive, so.
Worth trying.
He's always excited when we're applying for grant money, so maybe he can figure out how to get some support on this one.
Any other questions?
We're good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I see we're joined on Zoom by Dr. Singh, going to talk about briefing on political training affiliation agreements.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry, I don't know what's happening with my video, but maybe you don't need to see me this morning. I actually have two items for you today. One is an action item and one is just an update for your awareness. So the first one is the proposed affiliation agreement with Washington State University, the undergraduate campus, this time in Pullman. We've got two good internship candidates applying from there, and we'd like to get an agreement in place so that we can get them into the internship program.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And then the second one, as I mentioned, is just an update for just to keep you guys in the loop. As you know, we started providing medical examiner services to Pend Oreille County in January of 2025. And now that we have a year of data and experience to assess, Pend Oreille County has confirmed that they're going to increase the fees that they're paying us for death investigation support in 2026. So the revised fee schedule reflects their confidence in our services, and it'll also give us the resources to expand our support more fully to meet their needs. Wes Ziekow, our attorney, has advised me that the original interlocal agreement does authorize me to approve the increase, but I did want to just keep you guys in the loop since that is an amendment to the original agreement.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Okay, is that all? I think we're good.
Well, I have. All right. Good.
All
Thank you,
right.
guys.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay. Krista, you're up. Perfect timing. All right, Krista Rice from the Treasurer's Office. Refunds and excesses.
Our annual write-offs for old refund and excess checks. So they submitted the total amounts. Total $5,739,000. Refunds a little lower, excess is a little higher, mostly due to exemptions. We had a lot of 3-year exemptions processed by the assessor and some big TOR exemptions that were processed.
Any questions for Krista?
Anything out of the ordinary this year?
Yeah, I think
No,
nothing stands out.
nothing major. There were no court ordered ones. We haven't had any of those that we processed.
Well, okay.
Perfect.
Short
Thank
and
you so
sweet.
much.
Thank you.
A wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. All right, next up is Matt Zarakor.
He should be on his way.
Okay, he'll be on his way over. So, and he's got the next several items. Well, as we wait for Matt, are there any other miscellaneous items? Is there anything listed on? Oh, groundbreaking. You wanna?
Yes.
Wanna touch on that? This is about the groundbreaking date and time for the PATH Diversion and Sobering Center.
Yep, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes,
Okay, good.
Mike Sparber.
Yeah, Martha Lou there she is, okay.
Yep, she's here. Apparently it's been a little tougher to find a date than I think anyone thought it would be, so.
Yes. Well, commissioners, as I'm sure you realize that trying to get all of you in the same place on the same day at the same time is challenging. And what Mike has told me is that probably the week of, say, the 19th is our best bet, because the site will be ready for an event like this.
That 19th of what month?
Oh, I'm sorry. Of March.
January,
February.
February, I'm sorry.
February, okay, so February 19th is a Thursday.
Or is it March, Mike? What did the contractor tell you?
So, so they start demo, they're intending on starting demo this week. So by that, I mean that they'll,
But wait, we didn't catch that, Mike. When are they starting demo?
they're gonna start demo this week.
This week,
This
okay.
week. And by that, I mean, they'll be taking down the building over there, and there'll be equipment on the site. And there will be some temporary fencing put up around the site over there. The question is that, do you want to wait until the demolition is over where there's dirt and do the groundbreaking then, which is likely lend to like February, kind of what Martha Lou was alluding to. And it's really entirely up to you, board. So
Part of what we were also thinking is that the 19th, it's after the state legislature has, I'm sorry, March, has, Mike, is it gonna be February or March? Because I thought we were working on March
so
after this
that-
session.
that's why I say it's up to the board how soon they want to do it. We can do, it really doesn't matter. We'll have a mound of dirt there. We can have shovels there, and we can have hard hats ready. It's really up to you.
Commissioner Jordan, what do you?
I would suggest we do it after legislative session.
Okay.
That's a great opportunity to thank our legislators who supported the funding that we've received from the state. So I think it is sine die 13th or 12th, something like
12th.
that. So I would suggest we look at like the week of the 23rd or somewhere in mid-March, where or we can get critical
is-
mass there.
When is your fly-in to DC?
Oh, not
April.
April.
Okay,
Late April.
oh, all right.
Okay,
So. we have
Again,
the
I'm,
week of the
yeah, I'm
16th
fine
and
with
the
whatever
23rd.
you guys want to do. I'll make sure if there's some that, it's all set up. They could probably have Graham put some equipment there if we need to. Otherwise, we can certainly make it happen when you want to, commissioners.
I'm gonna throw out a few dates just to see. I don't know everybody's schedule, but I'm here the 23rd, 25th of March. I don't know what other schedules are.
I could make either of those days work, or do we want to incorporate it on a Tuesday when, we're all here for the Tuesday meeting? We just make sure we accommodate that as a part of the agenda, and we all walk over at,
Okay,
at like 11 o'clock on a Tuesday or something like that. I mean, if most of us are usually here on Tuesday, I don't know if anybody's zooming in or not on those days, or if they know yet, but.
I'm personally fine with that. I think sometimes it just kind of depends on the schedule and making sure we have enough time, but
So you're here on the 24th?
I'm here.
I'm here that whole week. I'm out the previous week. That's my challenge. The week of the 16th. I was planning on zooming in. So, but that's just my schedule. But yeah, the week of the 23rd is completely open. Nice.
Commissioner French and Commissioner CUNY?
Yeah, I'm there. I think there's some holds on my calendar for that, so I'm okay.
Commissioner French, does that week, finding a time within that week look okay for you? Commissioner French? May have stepped away from his computer, so.
One thing to add,
Yeah.
I was talking with Luke Jasmine last week and suggested that it might be something we invite the governor to, given that he's signed the budget that authorized the funds from the state. So he said there's a form to fill out to request like a governor visit. So I was gonna fill that out if people think that's a good idea. I would imagine the governor's schedule is really difficult, so maybe we don't plan around that, but if you want to come to town, this is the date, give them a heads up.
That's fine.
We'll do like, that time of year, maybe one-ish might be better, as opposed to morning. Sure. Let the sun maybe bring a little bit more warmth, so you mean the Monday, or the 1 o'clock, 24th, 1 o'clock, 25th?
Let's shoot for either the 23rd, 24th, or 25th. We'll see which of those dates fits, so we call around, calendar, whatever. I mean, if there's any, Mike, you talk with the construction, what?
Not available.
On any of those dates?
He's out of town for the 18th, I guess.
Oh, okay.
That's right, he's traveling.
What about the next week of the 30th? Is he still traveling?
We know when he gets back in.
Yeah. On my side, I'll work with whatever you guys need to do.
Oh.
Try to set it up.
Commissioner French unmuted.
Yes.
There.
I'm sorry,
Oh, you muted again. Sorry, what was that?
I didn't have anything to contribute, so I muted myself.
Oh. What?
That's unlike you.
We see you are you're not available the week of the 23rd in March. Are you available the following week of the 30th?
No,
No, okay,
I don't get back until the 1st of April.
okay.
It'd be like the second.
April 2nd, probably not Good Friday. But we could.
Yeah.
I just happen to know Good Friday because it's my parents' 50th anniversary, so I had that on the brain.
Is April getting us to, I mean, are they
I think
building at that point? I mean, are
Yeah.
they constructing?
Yes.
They're on the schedule, they'd be doing site work during that period of time.
What about the 16th or 17th of March? I know that's right after session, but it is. Oh,
Doesn't work for
oh,
me.
okay.
Yeah, or maybe we're just gonna have to do it before session ends. I know that'd be ideal, but we want to make sure it's a groundbreaking, not that they're already building behind us
Yes.
is part of the concern I would see. And we can certainly give the shout out to the legislators for helping look at the funding and all of that and hopefully helping us, kind of phrase it that way. Maybe-
My personal preference is if it works in March, I'd rather give legislators the chance to be there. I think they value that time to come and see the dollars at work that they've approved. So I'd prefer March personally.
The 16th.
And then we're talking state dollars, correct?
23rd.
So then it'll be up to Commissioner French because he's the one who will be, he's not in town then. So I think it's more important to have the commissioners all there if we can.
So is there any date from the 17th forward that works for everybody
So how
in
much,
March?
how much site work will be going on, like April 2nd? I'm
So
just trying to.
they're scheduled to start getting on the site the midweek of March. For now, that's a tentatively on their schedule, that barring anything that comes up in between now and then. The demolition is gonna start this week, according to Bruce, and should conclude early next week.
So what do we look at that week of the 9th of March, 9th through the 13th?
Well, my challenge is I'm out on the 12th and that's sine die. So I don't think there's a date that works for all five and allows us to be after the session.
Are you available on the 11th?
Yes, but our legislators wouldn't be.
Well, what about, so you said sine die is the 12th? So we wouldn't want to do like Friday, the 13th?
I'm out.
Oh, you're out.
Yeah.
Friday, okay.
But a bunch of them aren't even gonna be probably over. They'll be spending the night, probably traveling home.
Yeah, they won't be
It's
back
bad.
yet.
They're
They
packing
have
up.
to do it like late and that's not.
So what was wrong with the 16th or 17th?
I'm out
I'm
that week.
also out. So I'm out from the 12th to the 18th and then Al's out the 18th to the end of the month. That's part of the problem with all five.
A suggestion, while
Mary and I will just handle it, because we're the only two that'll be here, so
while you'd like to have.
three of you guys will just miss out. Al, Chris, Amber, you're not.
I thought you're not allowed in my district without my permission.
Well, if it works out better for the group to do it while I'm gone, do it while I'm gone, and hopefully somebody will say, I would have loved to have been here, but. And just do it that way, and I don't want to hold up the rest of the board.
Listen, ideally you'd like to have a groundbreaking before you start construction. There's likely gonna just be underground work, foundation sort of stuff, footings, everything being done. So it's not really that big of a deal if you do it after they already start. Yes, there'll be some equipment in the back. You'll actually see things are going. So it sounds like it works better if you wait until the first week in April for everyone. Legislators are available. So just a suggestion to kind of get tiebreaker.
It's just saying, April 2nd looked like a magic day, maybe.
April 2nd works for me.
Works for me.
Works for me.
Commissioner Cuny?
I'm looking.
The
So is that-
Thursday, April 2nd.
Is your busy?
Yeah.
You know, Al's back on.
That works?
Yes.
Okay. April 2nd. It's all about that picture.
We'll just have to we'll have to take the picture in an area where
It's okay.
it doesn't.
It's all about the clicks, guys. It's all about the clicks. It's
I
gonna
don't
work.
think there's gonna be outrage if there's.
If there's something going on.
Get that picture.
Just to confirm, we're on for April 2nd. It's a Thursday at 11 o'clock.
If 11 is when you want it, I mean,
I'm free all day.
yeah, same here.
Me too.
Lovely.
Okay, so 11 o'clock, April 2nd.
It'll be nicer weather, hopefully.
Gonna go buy a lottery ticket.
Maybe we'll bring a whole Howard, bring Mayflower.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I don't know if that holds true, in Spokane. I mean, yeah, December is supposed to bring snow,
I know.
so.
Yeah, it's a guideline.
And I think the weather will be much better then anyway.
Don't
Okay.
jinx it, Mike.
What's that?
I'm not gonna jinx it.
Ron says it'll snow.
Ron, yeah. Hey, Ron.
We'll get a dumping of snow that day.
Well, Ron is against the forces of darkness, so.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, well, there we go.
Hello, commissioners, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Matt, we got you up for 1, 2, 3, the next 4 items.
All right, good morning, commissioners.
Take it away.
Appreciate your time this morning. Yeah, the traffic code revisions to brief you on one bridge item. The first one is Craig Road and Dino Road out on the West Plains, and we're proposing no trucks over 16,000 pounds. The reason being, if you look at the aerial on the overhead, you see in the very northeast corner, there's a lot of new pit sites up there, and they're hauling a lot of material out, which is great. Need those out on the West Plains. Challenge being both Dino and Craig Road were not built to support that kind of truck traffic. So our proposals to encourage them to get back on Hayford, which is built to support that kind of traffic, and Highway 2, and just divert them away from the roads so we don't have the roads come apart on us. Happy to answer any questions on that one.
Any questions for Matt?
Okay. Nope. Good. Next one. So the next one is out at Liberty Lake, and it's Liberty Drive. Next slide, please, Ron. You can see the red line on the overhead is Liberty Drive, kind of winding through the neighborhood along the lake. And we have a pathway that runs along the east side of the lake. And it's been an off and on issue with people parking and putting boats and trailers and things out on the pathway, and that pushes people walking and people pushing strollers and walking dogs out into traffic. So really just looking to have this signed no parking on the pathway so that folks have the ability to go out and talk with neighbors about not doing that. And most people are really good, but it has been an off and on issue for a long time now. Happy to answer any questions on that.
Any questions for Matt?
All right, thank you. The next one is a speed reduction, and this is just north of Bigelow Gulch off of Bruce Road. It's a small road called Lindgren Road. You can see on the red line there. It just goes east a little bit from Bruce and then dead ends up in the mountains. And it's currently, I think the board's aware, all of our roads, this is a gravel road, are 35 miles an hour in rural areas unless we specify something different. We had a request from the neighborhood to reduce it to 25. Our traffic engineer, Nate Humphrey, went out, took a look, and he agreed. It's a very narrow, windy, not always the best sight distance that doesn't go very far. So proposing to reduce that to 25. Happy to answer any questions on that one.
Looks like we're good.
Thank you. So one more, this one I'm going to spend a little more time on if the board would allow me that. The first one here, you can see this is a bridge down on Genie Spokane Road. On the aerial there, you can see it's right near the intersection with Spotted Road. Next slide. And you can see on this bridge, this is a very old and somewhat historic bridge for us. Let me pull out my stats. This is kind of an impressive bridge in our world. It was built in 1949. It's 547 feet long. It has 10 spans that vary from 40 to 75 feet, and it's 30 to 45 feet, 54 feet above the railroad tracks that it's bridging. It covers 3 sets of tracks. It also goes over the Fish Lake Trail and Marshall Creek. So there's a lot going on under this bridge. And as you might imagine, that's a very expensive bridge when you start talking about replacing it. And I wanted to showcase a couple different things our bridge group did on this bridge that are worth noting. Just kind of kudos to them. The first is they hired Sargent Consultants, a private consulting company that we've worked with for decades now on the west side, to reanalyze the bridge. The substructure was in fair condition, the deck was in poor condition, and normally that means you got to replace the bridge. We hired Sargent, they reanalyzed the bridge to see if there was any way to increase capacity and remove the weight restrictions that were placed on the bridge. This also was near a number of pit and asphalt and concrete sites. So a lot of trucks wanted to use this route to get to Southwest Spokane and were not able to. And the results of their analysis actually said we didn't need post weight restrictions. And the board may remember we removed those weight restrictions about a year ago. So that was great. We were happy to see that. And we also had them look at, is there anything we can do to increase the life of the bridge? The guardrail in particular is getting quite old. I think we see that on a number of bridges around Spokane. And they came back and they said, yes, if you did a deck rehabilitation and also put some Thri-Beam on the rail for safety, that would extend the life of the bridge 15 to 20 years. So gets us to kick the can a long ways down the road on what will be a very expensive, probably $20 to $30 million bridge in today's dollars when we have to replace it. So that was just a great move by our bridge crew and our bridge team. So wanted to showcase that a little. And then also we were awarded that deck rehabilitation and Thri-Beam money. And that's really what we're here to brief you on, is to get the board's approval to move forward with that grant. And the one last thing that's worth mentioning is the project itself is $5.1 million just for the deck rehab and Thri-Beam. And we have 100% funding until September of 2026 for any elements that we can get moved forward before then. And the 13.5% match is almost $700,000 on that amount. So the bridge crew asked if they could start on the environmental ahead of the award and also get some other pieces moving forward to accelerate the timeframe in hopes of getting to construction prior to that date, getting us $700,000. So just nice to know everybody's paying attention and doing the best they can to try and save $110 for the roads reservation like we'd like to. So by spending in $30,000 to $40,000 of 110 fund now, we might be able to save that $700,000 in match. So just a really nice move on the part of our bridge crew on both of these items. You know, being able to move that bridge out, hopefully 15, 20 years, maybe longer. Generally, they get more life than they expect out of their work. It was really great. And also the ability to save that match is just huge. So really appreciate the bridge crew and everything they do for us. And I'm happy to answer any questions on that.
Any questions for Matt? Good.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rich, have a good day.
You too. All right, next up with Jim Amacio.
Good morning, board members.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you very much.
Good.
This is a very short item, and Mr. Valencia is going to bring up the very short presentation I have. While he's bringing that up, let me give you some background. In March of 1993, the Board of County Commissioners approved the Ashburn subdivision located in the southeast portion of Spokane County, east of the Palouse Highway. And at the time they approved that, it was located in the unincorporated area of Spokane County. When it was approved, you'll see on the map, there's a lot identified in red. That is Lot 8, Block 1. And Lot 8, Block 1 was not a developable lot, but instead it was used as a lot for drainage of the roadways within the subdivision. Subsequent to the county commissioner's approval of the Ashburn subdivision, the city, a petition was submitted to the city of Spokane to annex this subdivision into the city. The initial petition had about 77 acres, but the then Boundary Review Board increased it to some 206 acres. This was commonly referred to as the Shopko annexation because Shopko was the retail establishment that was included in the annexation. At the time of the annexation in 2005, all roadways within the area to be annexed, which were previously the responsibility of the county, became the responsibility of the city. Unfortunately, in 2005, when the annexation occurred, the county did not quitclaim Lot 8, Block 1, identified in red to the city of Spokane, because that piece of property was used for drainage of the roadways. Since the property has been annexed into the city, the county has not imposed a stormwater fee, which it could have done under the CC&Rs. But the city has continued to maintain the lot. And if I could go to the second slide, Mr. Valencia, you'll see the lot as it now exists. It has a fence around it, and the lot itself, as say, is used for draining through the roadways from the subdivision. Deborah Firkins and the Public Works Department have been working for some time frame to have the city accept a quit claim of this particular piece of property, and that they're presently maintaining the drainage property, and they're also imposing a standard monthly or annual fee for stormwater maintenance. The purpose of this particular presentation is that I have placed on next week's legislative consent agenda a resolution in which the board would quit claim to the city of Spokane, and they would accept the quit claim of this parcel of property, namely Lot 8, Block 1, in as much as they are presently collecting their stormwater fee for the lots within the subdivision, and they are maintaining this particular piece of property as a stormwater drainage swale. That's my presentation, unless the board has any questions.
Any questions? As I'm looking at Google Earth here, can you pull that back up, Ron? As I'm looking at this parcel, yeah, thank you, that one there. The parcel that ends in 9175, which literally they're separated by just one parcel. There's the red box, the one directly to the left. That next big one looks to be like a pond. It's like if you could divert the runoff to there, I mean, this looks like a pretty developable parcel there.
Right.
I mean, it absent using it for drainage right now. I mean, you got a giant pond that's literally half a block from there. I mean, it almost seems like a waste of this parcel right there, surrounded by homes and all that. I mean, I don't know, just throw that, I'm sure that's easier said than done, but I mean, it's.
Commissioner, my only observation would be this, of course, is located within the city of Spokane.
Yeah.
They're responsible for all drainage, and I will indicate to you that since this lot is identified on the plat which was finalized as a drainage lot, they'd have to have the approval of all the parties that own properties within the subdivision to do what you're saying. I'm not saying it couldn't be accomplished, but it would be something that they would have to initiate.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, just when you look at, an aerial view, I mean, it looks very, very out of place.
Right.
But that they're essentially using an entire.
This is here. I don't know if Deborah can comment on that parcel of property.
No, it was just an observation. I mean, it's in the city. It's not our problem. We're gonna give it to that. I'm just saying, just looking at it, it's like. You've got what appears to be some sort of, I assume, a man-made pond of some sort is what it looks like from an aerial view. And it's like, divert the runoff there and you've got a developable piece of property here.
All the piping and stuff that was done underneath the streets and stuff, because
Yeah.
this was taking part of that Shopco water and other stuff down into there. I don't know how much infrastructure you'd have to change in order to make that,
And we're not gonna figure that out today. So just an observation. I was just, okay.
Mr. Vice Chair, it'll be on next Tuesday's 2 o'clock legislative consent agenda for your action.
Yep.
And I've talked to the city attorney's office, and the city attorney's office has agreed they will accept the quit claim deed for this particular piece of property.
Okay,
Thank
sounds
you.
good. Thank you. All right, Scott Simmons. Allocation of interest earned on investments. Oh, and Jeff.
Jeff, do this.
Scott and Jeff.
This one, you'll recall, I think this is the third year that we have been taking interest earned on certain accounts and bringing it to the general fund as allowed by state RCW. Andy Bischoff started it and it's been helping the general fund along the way. This is a couple changes we would be recommending. Right now, we are doing it for all funds if it's allowed. Sometimes state and federal money in a fund would disallow it. with the exception of we do not take the interest from the roads fund, it stays in the roads fund. And we do not take from enterprise funds. And so there'd be two changes on this one. One would be to add the building permit fees, which is Fund 6040. That fund is very healthy right now. They're not looking at needing to do any fee increases. You look out many, many years. Working with Jordan, his office, he's supportive of the concept. And then the second would be Fund 501, which is our equipment rental fund. Talking with Kyle on that one, because that really is roads money. The vast majority, if not all of it, is roads. And so to be consistent with the fact we don't take the roads fund, it would make that change. We've been working with Russ in legal on this. Currently, it's written to be effective January 1 of 26. So we do a full year. I was just texting with Scott a little bit ago, need to talk with Wes still to see if we could, if the board was interested, we could, on accounting ways, we haven't closed up 25 books yet. So we could do accounting, make it effective for 25. Also, we need to have a legal review of that.
The ER&R one was just an oversight at the time. If you recall, that fund is fully funded through the roads fund. The roads fund contributes to ER&R as required by statute. So going back to the beginning of 25 actually would be good for that to make this effective. And as Jeff mentioned, the building fund is with their fees they charge and their expenses, they're fully self-sufficient. There's not a need for them to be made there.
Any concerns? I'm good.
So we'll
We'll see
just,
before you next week then.
yep, we'll just circle back with Matt, with Wes and make sure that no issues with doing it back in 25, but that would be on your agenda for next week.
Okay. The next item I know is Scott, but I see we're joined by our folks from the sheriff's office and with from DEM. Is he your slate for 20 minutes on? Is that a 20-minute item or should we come back?
It's up to you. I don't think it'll be 20 minutes, but I could certainly move around, whatever you guys prefer.
Okay. How long is it gonna take?
And how many questions do you ask?
20 to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
No, we don't ask Matt for time estimates.
Yeah. Why don't we just push it since others are here?
Okay.
Commissioner, just push. me
Okay.
to later.
All right, well, let's jump to Chandra Fox.
Okay, good morning. So
We should see the other guy, the other person, right? I mean, the injury, the other person's way worse, right? They got one good shot in on you, but that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Well, normally the question is, you know, did you fall off your horse? And the answer is no, I did not fall off the horse. So, anyway, but I do, yeah, I broke my arm 2 weeks ago. Oh, it'll be fine.
Okay.
So I wanted to come in and brief you all on our selection process for our new alert and warning platform. We started with 5 potential vendors. We are now down to our 2 finalists. Our panel has been really engaged in conversations with the vendors. We've had some really good presentations. In addition to our friends at Shrek, County IT has been very engaged, as has County Risk Management. So all of our kind of primary partners have had a seat at the table. I know for your concern, the pricing we're looking at is well within the budget that we have set for the program, and for 2026 we're at 120,000, and the quotes are coming in well within that, so no problem there. And so I'm hoping to be back in front of you with a new contract before the end of February. All I've got. Questions?
Any questions?
Just a statement, as you will recall, commissioners, this funding for Alert Spokane comes out of the 1/10 emergency communications tax. And so the recent agreement that a couple of commissioners, or all the commissioners had adopted, with the city of Spokane already called as a additional dollars that go towards Alert Spokane, the funding.
And just to add on to that, so we have always trained all of our dispatchers, both fire and law, Shrek and city dispatchers on the use of the system, and that's just simply going to continue. We're not going to make any change to that practice.
So on the briefing sheet where it says code red, you know, what's cyber attack, so are they like gone? Are they done? Or are they one of the, did they try to like, did they
So what?
seek the RFP or?
What happened, what we have been told, I guess I should add that caveat. What we have been told is that the platform that we were operating on was attacked and destroyed by whatever the cyber actors did. And so what the company opted to do, instead of repairing the existing platform, they wanted to shove all existing clients onto their new platform. Which we have been telling them for the last 18 months that did not meet our needs. It didn't have the technology that we required to do the interface with the new mapping capability that Shrek has developed. And based on that and their kind of just overall lack of appropriate customer service in light of a cyber attack, we made the decision to just go ahead and break with them and find a new platform. The good news is that it is cut, the process and the platforms have come such a long way in the last 7 years that we've been with Code Red, that our choices were really good. And I think people are going to be very pleased with the platform that we select. So it's ultimately a good thing. And I think Code Red is actually going to disappear from the marketplace because quite a few of their existing customers just made fun and said no. So.
Okay. Commissioner CUNY?
Yeah, so Chandra, so will citizens, how will this affect citizens? Because will they have to reapply for it? Will they have to re-put in their information, their cell phone numbers? How does that work? Because I know initially there was a big push to get everybody to sign up for it and all of that. So what does that look like for our citizens?
So for the folks whose data we already have, they should not have to re-register. We should be able to enter their existing data into the new system for them. And what we intend to do is do that work and then provide a link so that they can verify their data to make sure we got it correct. And we are going to have, once the selection is made and the implementation happens, we are going to do a public education kind of presser along with Shrek to announce the new system and tell people about it and do an additional push for folks to register.
Because Code Red was an app, correct? That you had to download onto your phone.
No,
right?
they had an app that you could use.
Yeah.
So, but the system itself does not require.
Okay, because I remember I had the app on my phone, on my old phone.
Yeah.
I remember downloading the app when we first moved over to, okay. Okay.
Okay.
We're good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now, Lieutenant Justin Elliott, talk about the Real-Time Crime Center.
Morning.
Good morning.
So it's been a little while since we presented to the board regarding the status, the progress of the Real-Time Crime Center. And we've entered the last year of our ARP grant and our first full year of operation with the Real-Time Crime Center. We have a PowerPoint that's going to be coming up. Do we have, okay, yep. All right, so next page. Like I said, first full year. In the interest of time, I'm gonna, if there's any questions on some of these slides, please ask, but I'll try to get through it. We do have some video and some success stories at the end. Go ahead. Again, our core commitment: safeguard privacy, protect civilian liberties, and maintain public trust through the operation. Guiding principles are proportionality, minimization, human oversight, and transparency when it comes to new technology. Regarding our ALPR cameras, become the cornerstone of our modern policing, driving more successful case outcomes than any other single tool available. We have some statistics to back that up. And then public concerns which should be addressed. The nationwide lookup has been in the news as it was disabled very early. We're the first agency in the state to identify through an audit that that was hitting our cameras and turn that off. Okay. Right, so real, yes.
So does that mean that feature? Any outside agency would basically need some kind of special permission to.
They would have to
seek
call us
access.
directly. So when it was not shut off, people could hit our data set without us even knowing about it.
Right.
So now it's only within the state of Washington and then a handful of Idaho organizations. And federal agencies like the FBI, they don't have direct access. We have one task force member specifically assigned to Border Patrol with the Raven Task Force, right, doing narcotics work, things like that, has direct access into it. But again, he's working with Raven Task Force. He's subject to all the same regulations that are.
Our policy has been an audit every year. We've brought that down to about monthly to make sure that everything's being done within policy. That we're identifying that. And on the nationwide lookup, conversely, we also now don't have the ability to search for crimes that occur here to look outside of the state in that same fashion. So that was kind of the give and take, but we share within the state.
Do you have an updated policy document where you outline these changes that you've made? Because it looks like you're considering this new technology. There's lots of things that we don't necessarily unintended, consequences of.
That's a
different
great point. I
things.
had it
I think
in my
that's what
notes.
I've got questions from different community members, like, well, what is our policy? It's great that we turned that off because we may have conflicting rules in Washington State from other states. But where is that updated policy document?
So that's going through the process of getting finalized right now. So we have the existing ALPR policy, and we're adding in more information to address these issues. It'll be published probably within a month. I would anticipate. It just takes time going through the process through command staff and getting published.
We have one person who's writes all of our policy changes. So as you can imagine, we're changing policies constantly, so this one's in the hopper. And frankly, the current policy covers that kind of activity. So it's just making sure that we're cleaning it up through audits and making sure that people are writing that policy. It's if we tried to write into policy every little thing we think somebody might misuse it for, that policy alone would be a couple hundred pages long. So it's the key for us is ensuring that we have broad guidelines of making sure it's being used within the bounds of the state law and the Constitution and our policies, and making sure people are adhering to it. And that's why we're auditing as frequently as we are, just to make sure that we're finding anything that might, cause concern.
Okay, well, I don't want to go off track, but I know there's some discussions in the legislature about some new policies that would be statewide. Do you have any concerns, or I know one of the issues is keeping the data and how long we keep data for public records, related laws that we have in Washington State.
Yep.
So I know
There's a
that
Senate hearing going on right now.
legislators are trying to balance, obviously, we have public records laws, but we also don't have the capacity to keep every piece of data forever.
Yes.
So just wondering where your thoughts were on that.
So we are actually providing significant information to not only the WAC ops folks and the policy directors at WASPIC, but I've also been in direct contact with Senator Holy and through Senator Riccelli with Senator Trudeau. I think what was testified to today in the Senate hearing by James McMahon, our WASPIC policy director, we're trying very much to work quite well with the Senate on this to make sure that we get legislation that allows us to utilize these tools that we made a significant investment in. and yet recognize, people's, interest in liberty and privacy and everything like that. I think we'll get there. I know right now we've provided probably a 4-page document to Senator Trudeau and the members of the Law and Justice Committee at the Senate about WASPIC's concerns with the legislation. And I know our RTCC experts provided a significant amount of the feedback that went into that document. To kind of show where the legislation doesn't necessarily consider real world investigative stories and techniques that they may not be aware of. You can't expect legislators to be experts in how we do investigations. So we're providing them as much data and information as possible so they can craft good legislation that works for everybody. So we believe, on some of the high points, we believe that shortening down the retention period to 72 hours would be significantly diminish our ability to fight crimes. It's alarming from the amount of time that goes from when a crime has occurred to when it's reported to when it gets assigned for follow-up. And we took the broad averages of many of our call types. I don't think there was a single one that was under 72 hours. Some of them are, 14, 18, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. So it's 72 hours would really, really limit how effective our ALPR system is. And it wouldn't be just ours, it would be everybody's. So again, it's just a matter of educating them so they understand.
I read an article that said the original proposal that I think it was the ACLU wanted, that you would keep it for 3 minutes.
That's what they testified as wanting today in the Senate.
That's right. Anything recorded, 3 minutes, and then it's deleted.
Yeah.
And apparently they're claiming New Hampshire does that.
I don't know.
What's the point in having a real-time crime center?
That's their goal, right?
Yeah, it's outrageous. 3 minutes?
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Yes.
You take a long bathroom break and the stuff's deleted. I mean, that's crazy.
So I will say from all outside appearances to us talking to different legislators, there's a lot of good conversations going back and forth. I don't think anybody here has the intent of making this technology useless. We just want to get to a good point where it's useful for us. People's civil liberties are honored, and people can trust that it's being used for the appropriate reasons, and we can get there.
Thank you for.
Can I ask, with the nationwide lookup feature turned off, is that because that's a decision that your office wanted locally, or is that what we're having to do in order to comply with state law?
No, the state law is pretty silent on that.
Okay.
What the problem with the nationwide lookup is we don't get necessarily notified when people are hitting our database. And somebody outside the organization could, in theory, use it for things that might violate the Keep Washington Working Act, things like that.
Okay.
We have no evidence. The one time we know an outside agency did hit our database, they didn't find any hits. None of the information contained that we had was used at all. But just right now with the political climate and whatnot, it was easier to just turn it off for the time being. And wait for legislation to come through.
Okay.
So-
Because and what goes through my mind is if somebody were to commit a crime in Idaho and then come in, and would Idaho law enforcement be able to contact and have you look?
Some
up, or-
Idaho, North Idaho
Yeah.
agencies
Yeah.
do, but again, once we turn the national lookup off, we can't see theirs either. We would have to make direct contact with Idaho and have them run stuff for
Okay,
us
so
or any other state.
Okay, so then the nationwide lookup goes both ways, that
Correct.
not just outside looking at ours, it prohibits you from looking at theirs
Correct.
too. Oh, wow.
But that's how you would have proceeded before these cameras, correct?
Well, yeah, the information wouldn't exist. And by the way, we've had ALPR camera systems between in fact, in the Coeur d'Alene area, the Cook County, Coeur d'Alene and Hills Falls area had far more of these years and years and years before we did. And so we had access to each other's systems, but it wasn't a nationwide system at the time. They were kind of at the forefront of this technology and using it nationwide. And so we all benefited from it. Once once this kind of technology became a little more effective, a lot more affordable than it used to be, that's when you started seeing it kind of spread across the country.
But Idaho doesn't have the same public records requirements, right, that Washington
I
does.
cannot speak
I don't think
intelligently about Idaho's public records laws.
I mean, I'm concerned about that too, because we're already, you know, we just have to, it's important to have access to technology to do better policing. But it's also, we have to think about the amount of time and data.
But keep
You
in
know,
mind
with
that
the body cameras alone, we're getting so many public records, requests to go through those videos. So it's just a concern.
well, keep in mind that if an agency wants to query our information, they're still our records. They're subject to our public records laws, not theirs. And their records are their records, not ours. And keep in mind that if we do say, make an investigative inquiry into it and we find a hit or something that we're going to use, we then keep that record, and then it is a record for us, even if it was from them. It then becomes part of the investigative file, and that's something we keep, per all the records retention policies in the state of Washington.
A good rule of thumb I usually explain is if Coeur d'Alene or Post Falls is in pursuit of a vehicle to Spokane County, we assist if it meets our policy for the crimes of Washington State. It's the same applicability to the license plate reads or any other call for investigative assistance. And it's going to be documented. It's going to be auditable. And our current audit report, I can share that with you for some perspective, is very detailed as we reacted to this. You brought up like, hey, this is new technology. We're reacting to it. That's exactly it. This new technology, we've identified specific problems. We've added different policy and procedures to it. On top of that, when it comes down to immigration enforcement and reproductive health, those have become to the forefront since the inception of this. So we're adjusting to that and making it more applicable to the law. So that's a good perspective to look at. And it's just one piece of technology for the effort. We do layered technology so that we can give the best production of crime reduction rather. So again, it's just one layer of many types of technologies, real-time crime center, but it is the hot topic right now. And we have stayed as the pilot for the state. When I first presented to you all over 3 years ago, we've remained leading that way, and agencies are obviously following our lead in different respects with the real-time crime center, LPR, with public disclosure issues. So that's just to go to say how much we're staying ahead of that as much as possible and anticipating these issues as they come up and reacting in order to stay up with tech to the world.
And I just, one last thing, in your Word document that you sent out, you said no facial recognition. The report explicitly confirms the sheriff's office does not use facial recognition. What report are you talking about?
You mean an annual report?
I don't know, it just says the report.
Yes,
Is
the
that-
annual report supports that as
Okay,
well.
okay.
There's usually the question comes up of what about facial recognition? There is an avenue in Washington State to add that to the investigative toolbox. And essentially, if it were something that we went for, it would be taking pictures of people involved in crimes and comparing against pictures that are open to the public and identifying them. Most people, when they think of visual recognition, we're going to use a camera to scan every law-abiding person's face and then search it against a database to identify if they've paid their parking tickets or had a misdemeanor warrant, et cetera. And that is not the case. But in either scenario, it's something that would take extra energy and effort, and it would take all new policy, and it would take just a large lift. And although it would be very beneficial, we want to focus on what we can do positively and not add that negative connotation to government surveillance or whatnot.
Not using it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And frankly, the state law outlines quite a few steps
It will
you have to
probably
take.
cover that.
Yeah, and it's just too heavy of a lift, and we're not sure that the juice is worth the squeeze on that right now.
Just because we can do things doesn't mean we
should.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, go back to the PowerPoint. All right, so just a quick rundown of the many projects that 5 of our full-time employees in the sheriff's office are working on. So a lot of different things going on. Peregrine, our data aggregator, has been hugely successful. A lot of attention on that, sharing with all the way to the patrol officers.
It's off of some sort of timer.
Is it?
Slide, yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Well, I'll go through them quicker.
It's like the red light at the award ceremonies.
All right, we'll talk about the cows, additional LPR cameras, the project, the valley, the hangar, that's increasing the video there. And also the, at the dump in the county. Several new cameras at intersections, assisting Medical Lake and Deer Park, as well as City of Spokane Valley, Axon fuses and school cameras. Got it in there. Oh, next.
Yep, you got it.
We did, okay. This is the time that the RTCC is open. It's only about 47% of the week. So the stats you're about to see were accomplished in less than half of the week while being in service. So pretty impactful. And that's the entire staffing right there. 3 analysts, IT manager, RTCC supervisor, and myself as the only commission in the crime center. All right, you're going to see things such as an analyst touch, assist, impact, and success. And essentially that's something that our real-time crime center supervisor, Dustin Bonsgard, crafted to meet our activity tracking needs from the beginning. This system is actually being adopted by many agencies and our RTCCs across the nation right now. And each of those has a specific definition. Did the analysts just go in and look at the call and see what they could do? Or all the way down to they provide a level of impact that changed the outcome of that scenario or that crime or that incident. So each one has a different level of that. So 2,172 activity entries for 2025. You can see impacts are the largest there, the pie graph of just kind of what our stats are. So we're able to keep these stats because we're keeping track of everything they do is entered into a homegrown system. Okay. All right, for the engagement, you can see the jump there was right about the time we added, about halfway through, we added our first analyst full-time sitting in a chair. And then we added 2 more. And then once they got through the training program, you see the huge jump in activity and impact by the excellent people we have working in there. And it's pretty remarkable what we've seen them do. For those that have had tours, the amount of stuff that they're juggling all at one time in order to identify the priority and the impact. Thank you. So as it said, they're an average of 9 incidents per day. That's the days that they actually work. So that doesn't include the days that the crime center is closed. Again, 211 success stories. You'll see how the success stories improved there as we started adding people into the center. And as we started getting our momentum, getting all our technologies and systems working in unison. And we just had, like I said, a good pace going in the last year. All right, the measure is substantive contributions to a case. So we can be careful not to say like, hey, we ran a name in that case, so we're getting success for all the arrests in that case. We want to be not only humble, but accurate and not play hyperbole to the statistics. So again, it's broken down. Analysts are now writing police reports in support of these incidents, supplemental reports, reports that aid all the way through the criminal justice process. And we had 442 police reports for those 3 individuals during 2025. And writing about 1 report for every 6 incidents. All right, asset movement. Every time we move a cow, a rat, a giraffe, a flex, or a fox, we have to leave the crime center. It goes dark. We don't provide that support anymore. Ideally, that would be another full-time person that organized that, but we lean on Scope and their volunteers quite a bit. But this just quantifies how much time they're taking. Prior to the real-time crime center, as an investigative commander, I was sending detectives out to doing this. So they weren't working on cases at the time. They were moving assets around. So pretty remarkable. It does get them out of the office. They do like that part. And we've been able to quantify about 1.5 asset moves out the field per day. And again, they're not sitting there doing their real-time crime center duties at that time. All right, small print from there, but you can see the types of incidents that were touched by the RTCC, which ones they look at, which ones did they work, just to quantify the vast amount of crime impact and victims that are getting better service because of the center. And we do this every year just to identify, what's the majority of types of crimes, what do we focus on? Is our technology focused on the types of crimes we're most working all the time? Thank you. All right, a system success. So I like to talk a lot when we speak in the region about real-time crime. Is the real-time crime center concept isn't always a building with screens on the wall and people sitting there. Early on, our philosophy was to get real-time policing technology that could be utilized by dispatchers, by patrol, by investigators, by command staff, anytime, not just when the RTCC is open. So when there's a success with LPR, when there's success with cameras, with other investigative databases, and that gets reported back to us, we capture that as this is what supported real-time crime center systems have done, even when we're not manning it. But we maintain those systems, we optimize them, and we train patrol and investigators and dispatch on how to use them. So this is a graphic to show how many of those successes through the quarters from just the systems that we have acquired here in the county. All right, stolen vehicles there's been a remarkable impact on stolen vehicles in the county and the valley. So these are combined numbers of the county and the valley. Recovered with real-time crime center involvement, 257, leading to 143 arrests. For those of us that have worked patrol before, I don't know how many plates we would run before we got an occupied stolen, but it's hundreds and hundreds of just patrolling and trying to find an occupied stolen. The difference between an occupied and recovered is they left the vehicle, they know it's going to get collected by police. There's nobody in it. Evidence is typically gone. We might get some fingerprints or whatnot. Catching a vehicle that's occupied because of these systems leads to more warrants, to people committing crimes actively, different evidence. The impact on the other crimes has been remarkable. We'll go into the percentage of overall stolen vehicle impact here in a moment. Our ALPR cameras, specifically Flock, that were installed, vehicle theft reports have declined by 54%. So we had a huge spike in some of my previous presentations to you all. And now we've seen that the desired impact is less in crime, means the pond has less fish in it. So we've started to clean up the streets with this technology, and we're seeing lower successes because less opportunity of criminals out there to capture.
And I will say statewide data shows that statewide vehicle thefts are decreasing, but not at the rate that has happened in Spokane County.
I would have felt irresponsible to make a claim that we, at this point in 2025 numbers, that we would have a 54% decrease in auto theft, but that's the numbers we have. And from the previous year, from this, we've extended it another 8% from the 46 that was remarkable the previous year. All right, arrest activity is just a graph of the numbers of arrests from analysts and system successes during that same time period, quarterly, all the way at the end of 25. All right, arrest by offense category. You can see from assault, vehicle theft, persons crimes, property crimes, crimes against society. That's just our tally of the impact on those types of arrest charges for warrants and for press charges.
If you guys will remember, one of the prongs of the funding provided for this was to reduce violent crime, and you can see the impact that the RTCC has had on violent crime in Spokane County. We've been able to do it with, essentially the same number of people working the streets as we had before we started.
I will tell you also from our experience on the road, to achieve these type of numbers, the amount of uses of force, complaints, or other type of negative outcomes that come with that. The Real-Time Crime Center has had 0 complaints, no uses of force, no direct lawsuits, etc. So we've been The liability overhead is very low.
Glad you did that. Yeah, he said it out loud. Yeah. I'll talk to him.
All right, so personnel used to reunite 6 missing persons with their loved ones. Just the impact on one at-risk missing person, it can be huge compared to high numbers of theft and whatnot. Anytime we have a missing persons alert or we can assist in that, we jump to it and try to reunite. All right, some case highlights. And we are nearing the end for you. January 6th, recent shooting in the Valley. A gangster rival shooting, 6 to 7 shots heard, male victim at the scene, suspect left in a blue or gray Chrysler minivan. RTCC was working, advised of the minivan, observed it pulling into a parking lot a few blocks from the shooting. And patrol constant tax the vehicle, not the suspect. We don't have a connection with STA yet. We've been working on that for a while, but they reached out to STA by the phone and started working on video quality, possible suspect identification by patrol, and then the RTCC worked with suspect employment near the shooting. They identified through our systems. They worked near the shooting scene, identified. Showed no vans registered to him, started ruling out and doing kind of the investigative work up front, narrowing down, shortening the time span for the investigators because evidence is fleeting as the suspects leave the scene. So patrol locates the suspect vehicle at a known address. Based on that information, we in the RTCC identified the passenger in the suspect vehicle based on a nickname through systems like Peregrine to quickly identify, which would take a very long search traditionally. And then they received video from STA, which provided investigators an analysis and description of the suspect. So it provided that clarity and it identified our 3 most important things for real-time analysis: accuracy, timeliness, and actionable information, all from this case. That's one of hundreds. So we'll go to the next one.
Guys, what's the holdup with the STA cameras? I remember, I think when I took a tour, when you guys were still constructing the real-time crime center, you were in discussions with STA. And I think when I asked STA, they had indicated at that point that things were getting close to signing an agreement. But
so the timeline on that is early on, we wanted to get access to increase situational awareness. So you've got cameras inside the bus and you got cameras at bus stops. We think that the bus stops, the fixed cameras are the easier low-hanging fruit to connect and partner. The ones inside the bus would be more of like an MOU with the schools, emergency situation, notification in writing. They also have some union issues with their bus drivers they need to work through. It's one of the issues. So again, it went kind of flat. We've been open arms. They had a change in leadership. They reached back out. And I'm still trying to reconnect with them to see about how we can connect to the bus stops and get that video coming in. So we're ready to connect at any time. We just need to get that halfway. All right. So second of 3 case highlights. This is a hit and run collision. This stuff happens every day. So hit and run involving 3 vehicles and hit a signal control box. $10,000 in damage, county owned traffic signal. Suspect vehicle is a black pickup with a canopy. That's what we knew. Victim provided that photo that you see right there. RTCC went into action with the photo, used ALPR data to identify the suspect vehicle. So they can search black pickup with canopy during a time period in this rough area. They find a similar vehicle, they get the plate. Deputy called the suspect on the phone, admitted to causing the accident and fleeing from the scene. Suspect charged, case closed. That might have gone to the traffic unit maybe a week or 2 later, definitely beyond 72 hours. So in the future, being able to solve a case like this wouldn't have happened. But we've had one of our sergeants using Peregrine was driving home, saw an accident, take off, grabbed the plate while he pulled up her phone and got her to get on the next exit and come back or she'd be arrested. That quickly using the data to solve these crimes. All right, found nonverbal autistic toddler. So when it comes to community caretaking, the spectrum isn't just crime. It's a large amount of it. We're looking at every way that we can impact different agencies and different needs of the community. So responded to a report of a toddler who did not speak, found alone in a park, unknown where that toddler came from. The toddler did have a phone. Deputies provided the phone number to RTCC. They used multiple tools to identify the owner of the phone, lived in an apartment complex nearby. Child was returned to the apartment where the sleeping parents were not aware of the child leaving the house. So impact on the child too, you know, traumatically, how long is it going to be before we reunited the parents before they woke up? Or much worse. Do we have the video? So the last one of our efforts, what we've talked about is, again, we've assisted multiple agencies within the county and cities with camera systems, which have saved at least $10,000 to $15,000 because of IT leading those projects and helping. We've also expanded to this county of Spokane has had 0 traffic cameras prior to the Real-Time Crime Center. We used that grant to expand that situational awareness with traffic cameras. And this video right here will give you an idea of a call for service involving one of them. This is at Park Smith and Market. You can go to press play if you like.
911, what's the location of your emergency? Hello, I'm on Park Smith and Market. There is a man who looks like he's high on drugs and he's walking around in the middle of the street and he's about to get hit. This is at Park Smith and Market? Correct. One moment here. He's got a beard. He's actually walking north on Market now, just so you know. And all right, hang on a second here, ma'am. Okay, I'll get that info in just a second. I want to make sure I'm getting this call started. Okay, thank you. Don't get hit, buddy. He said he's walking in the road. Yes, now he's walking in the road. Oh gosh. Phone number is 509.
So this is a 360 view.
And any weapon seen?
No, not that I could see.
And you said he's going northbound right now?
Correct.
Does he seem high or intoxicated?
Yes, he seems out of his mind.
And what race is he?
He appeared to be white, had a beard.
About how old would you say?
In his 30s to 40s.
And could you see what he was wearing? What color shirt or pants?
I believe it was like a blue, either dark blue or black hoodie. And dark pants.
Okay.
Look at how close.
And is he in traffic on the northbound side or the southbound side?
It would be on the south, well, he was actually all over. He was literally in the middle, doing circles in the middle of the...
Okay. So he's going between both lanes?
Yeah.
Thank you. And then what is your first and last name? And how do you spell that, ma'am?
It's...
Officers are dispatched from about 5 miles away. And they have no
Perfect.
idea.
All right. We have that information over to our dispatcher. Thank you for giving us a call about this, and you have a safe day, okay?
Hopefully he gets some help.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
In my defense, there was no sidewalk.
What were you doing up in my district, Al?
Yeah.
You could have called me.
The deputy says, you know, that sounds like Larry, but we can never find him up in that area. So RTC guides them in. Because they show up, they don't find him, they leave, and we're gonna be doing this all over again. Or some citizen hits
Larry!
him, it becomes a major issue.
It's the sheriff's office, brother. What's going on, man? You're one place to stay for the day.
You have a warrant, by the way.
I know I have a warrant.
So they knew it. I mean, they knew him by
They heard
name.
Larry and walking on the street acting high, they figured it was Larry.
Okay.
They didn't know where to find him at.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, again, they go back to the other side of the county or up north for another call, and then they get another call, Larry again. And maybe this time it's a school bus hit him in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
And now you have a much worse issue for everybody involved. So little things like this happen on a daily basis, and we've expanded to different cameras in all parts of the county. I think we have 10 or 11. But the situational awareness is just an example of how that helps us just do what we do every day.
And it, again, makes us more accurate. We didn't just send a couple patrol cars through, can't see him, can't find him. We were able to know exactly where he was at, exactly how he was behaving. And it got to the resolution we needed.
Yeah, and these are the types of example that I hope are being shown to the legislators in Olympia. This is not some, what is it, 1984 Orwell type, it's like, no, this is helping people.
Correct.
This is saving lives. That guy, like, he easily could have been hit in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And luckily, in this instance, there was some mechanism we had to keep him from hurting himself. They could go on and on with these examples.
That was quite a bit for one day, so any
Yeah.
questions?
It's a very good question.
Yeah.
First of all, thanks. I always love the success stories. It's clearly having a big impact. I was wondering where we're at with the ARPA spend, because I know there's timelines for that, and then sustainability plans. Where are we at in that timeline?
80 to 85% of the grant spent so far with remaining year.
And we should get to a complete spend on that. The question is, what do we do in 2027? Right now, our ongoing costs without adding any new technology, which we have asked them. And as you all know, technology moves so fast. And there's a lot of companies getting into this market. We've actually had to tell our folks, like, hey, just let's take a breath and get really good at using the systems we have. Plus, we got to figure out how to pay for this in a year. And so I think right now, as things stand, we're looking at about ongoing costs about 1.2 million a year. Once the grant funding runs out.
I believe the ARP contract said that it referenced that you guys were gonna sort of find subscribers or other agencies to bill for the service. Are you having any success in that?
As far, well, we have been diligently looking for grant funding and not being terribly successful with that right now. Just because a lot of the ways the notice of funding opportunities have come out, there hasn't really been one we've been able to wedge this into yet. But we do have community members that are integrating into the system. We're not charging them for, providing us the information. They're actually having to go out and buy the equipment to go ahead and integrate with our system for their privately owned cameras. And so right now, there doesn't seem to be, outside of charging our contract jurisdictions and things like that for their use, which we of course do. But outside of that, I don't know that there's a whole lot we're going to be able to do as far as, charging the community for use. And people are pretty skeptical about us putting them in public places. One of the bigger places that people express concern about using this type of technology is on private property and things like that. And in fact, part of this legislation that we're trying to kind of massage a little bit is they're trying to create an expectation of privacy in public places, which doesn't exist, has never existed. And then, want us to rise to a level of having probable cause and getting a search warrant to use privately held data, which would render it essentially useless. Justin, how many businesses do we have right now that give us access to their private businesses, give us access to their cameras? I know we have Trudeau's Marina and a couple other places there.
We're about 20. We're switching over to a new connection method for all of them. So we're in the process of switching them over. We're able to negotiate with Axon to also get us a full-time employee from them to help us with that transition, and also a very aggressive school safety initiative where we're going to give direct access to at least the outside cameras at all schools, starting with Meade. So that project, there's going to be a big expansion of those private cameras, but right around 17 to 20 right now, private businesses.
And the thought process on that is they have these existing cameras. Let's get access to those. So as something happens, say on Sprague, and we have access to a network of cameras, private cameras going down Sprague, we could use them to, get real-time information on direction of travel, vehicle description, people movements, things like that in public places. So.
But what was the intent of the language in the ARP documents about billing other jurisdictions for the service?
That would be our contract agencies. Because remember, because we were using those funds and not putting that out through the, the LECAP, law enforcement cost allocation program. And that is our intent going forward. Okay. So.
Because it says here that you provided intelligence support to 39 different law enforcement agencies.
Yes.
So I think that's great. I just think we need to figure out a way to work with all of those agencies to have them foot part of the bill, because they're benefiting from all the investment we've made.
Correct.
And so I want us to be a regional leader, right? But I don't think it's unreasonable to come up with a proposal that says, hey, we built this, we put a lot of the ARPA funds into it. We've built the systems, we've hired the people. And if you want to be a part of it, contribute.
Well, and frankly, there's no other jurisdiction that is a part of the RTCC. I'll give you an example of maybe the outside support we'll give. When we had those firefighters killed over in Coeur d'Alene, not only do we have all their resources, we had a lot of our resources over there in an attempt to get all the information we could on the suspect. Their analysts were working hand in hand with our analysts here to develop a suspect profile, maybe figure out motivation, look for other threats. The question is, they don't always use our analysts for full-time stuff, but in a particular incident, I don't know that we want to get into the business of saying, hey, we'll come help you do this thing for the right reasons, but we're going to turn around and bill you, $600. Because frankly, we use their analysts too. And then you get into this back and forth of, well, we'll help you, but we're going to bill you. And then we're going to turn around and bill you. Because we do receive support from them. We receive intel support from the city of Spokane for their intelligence, but they're not a part of the RTCC. But we use their analysts for different things and their intel for different things. And so I think you get into pretty murky waters when you start saying on a piece by piece basis, we're going to start, charging for services that we're giving because it affects the greater public safety of Spokane County. It's just something to think about. Now, if we had somebody who was saying, yes, we want you guys to support our patrol people with these RTCC analysts, we want you to be on the radio. Yeah, that's not something we can give away for free. Probably part of what we were looking at is we always assumed that the city of Spokane would jump in and do this. And I know originally Chief Hall wanted to be involved, but I don't know that their budget situation would allow it. I know they lost their opportunity to fund ALPR cameras, which would have been a huge piece of getting them involved with our system. And that didn't happen because they lost their funding opportunity. So that's something to keep in mind about, okay, how in reality, when we're supporting these other agencies, what does that actually look like? It's not like we're providing full-time RTCC service for them. They may call, or we may have people in a specific incident in another jurisdiction that they're supporting our people, but supporting the entire mission of that incident. I don't know if I articulated that very well.
So what is your proposal then for the LECAP or the contract that we do have, where we do pay each other for different services, or the city, I guess, pays us for use of the facility and other things?
So right now,
I mean,
as far as
resources,
as far as
it's
the
technology
master-
resources too.
Right.
And there's a cost to maintaining all those licenses. So it seems like at least I see what you're saying about personnel and micro, you don't want to be nitpicking over every hour, or every minute that somebody helps another agency, but it is something though that if they see benefit in, that I would hope they'd want to contribute to, or at least the technology piece of it.
And I think that's pretty easy to define with our contract cities. But let's take the master contract we have with the city of Spokane. Right now, as I believe, and I know Tessa's here, so she can correct me, I don't think we have any consideration for RTCC in that master contract.
That's correct.
The city of Spokane. So
it seems like a huge opportunity.
Well, let's see, at the end of the day, it comes to, you said 1.2 or 1.7?
1.2.
1.2. So at the end of the day, it's how do we close that number of 1.2? clearly a portion of it will fall on us. It is our resource. We are running it. It's our employee. But I mean, we
90%
would
of what
really
we do.
like to shrink that 1.2 number down as much as possible through. So that's kind of what it all comes down to for next year's. And I see Under Sheriff Ritchie is your hand's going up and down. So
I don't want to interrupt the sheriff.
turn it to you.
I think with our contracts, like our contracts with smaller jurisdictions where we try to capture costs. Remember when we did those contracts, we weren't paying for this because it was covered by different funds and everything. So I don't think those dollars were worked into that, but they will be worked into future contracts. So those smaller jurisdictions that we have contracts with where we supply, like Deer Park, we supply 4 deputies. When we go to redo those contracts and those costs, those things are going to be figured into those overall costs. I'm imagining the budget office, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, we take the total cost of operating the sheriff's office plus dispatch costs for running Shrek, things like that, and then that is incorporated into the total cost attributed to sheriff's
Supplying a
office.
deputy, right? So those costs are going to start being calculated in that. What the impact is going to be on the overall numbers of the real-time crime center, I don't know yet because we have to go through the process first. But and then as far as the LECAP goes, remember the overall cost of the sheriff's office and everything is considered in the LECAP. So those costs are going to be taken. They're not going to be direct. We're not billing them directly for real-time crime center services, but they are being captured somewhat in those contracts and those LECAPs. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to show like they paid this much percent or they paid this much dollars, but they are gonna be contributing. And then these are all the contracts we have. You consider like Airway Heights and Cheney, all these different contracts we have with them. All these costs are these contracts.
I think there's just a timeliness thing though to it, right? Like, probably gotta get on those conversations now before the end of the year.
I can't remember if our Medical Lake and Deer Park and small city contracts go through 27 or 26. I think it's 27, so there could be a lag, but those will definitely be, renewed by as soon as we can. We have contracts with them, so we can't change those contracts right now, but they are definitely going to be captured in the future.
And frankly, the biggest utilizer outside of the county will be the city of Spokane Valley, and that's all considered through the settle and adjust and things like that.
So that was already considered in the.
I mean, yes, they know that in 2027 things will change.
Can I ask about, about the utilization to the point you made, Sheriff? I was kind of surprised when I mean, just considering population of these different jurisdictions, like on the graph you had of all the primary agency associated, City of Spokane number is very low for the size of their population. I mean, like if you compare it with Airway Heights, the size of their population, their number is not that far behind the City of Spokane. Is that because does Airway Heights have the cameras that are tied in, or is there another reason?
There's a couple reasons involved. Number one, with the casino out west and Airway Heights, you have officers like on scene.
Okay.
That are in the area, and there seems to be an attraction to an area out there. So some of the criminal element, that's one. The other one is we've shared our capabilities with the city of Spokane up front, and we've expected some more maybe bodies in there or sharing the cost of systems. We just haven't been able to achieve that with the city at this point. But we're also not getting a lot of success stories back from them, and I've kind of made it very clear that it's important that when you use any of these systems that we put forth and you have success, please let us know so that we can report it back. Okay. And we're just not getting a lot of that statistics back. And I'm going to be asking again this week if it's ALPR, if it's access to our video cameras. We share a lot, but again, we don't get the data back as much from some of the other agencies that we're capturing.
So that Spokane number may be artificially.
It absolutely could be
higher. Understood.
And remember, they handle a lot of their own business. We are not listening to the radio channels, generally speaking. With Airway Heights and Cheney, we're on the same radio system. So our analysts are hearing the calls that are going on and can offer support where they are not on the City of Spokane channels. Okay. And so could there be more opportunities if they were actively listening to SPD's radio channels and not have to be specifically requested to come over? Yeah, we probably could. But I mean, honestly, with the few operators we have plenty to do with our own instead of trying to go over and cherry pick theirs. Right. To your point, they're not paying for that service either. So,
do we have a estimate of when we think the ARPA dollars might run out? I'm just kind of curious between if that's coming up.
December of 26.
We think so.
Yeah, and they have to be expended by then.
Right, but I'm thinking, are we gonna spend them down in April or May and then not have budget for part of
Get
the
us to
year?
the end of the
That's
year.
my concern, yeah.
Worst case scenario is probably November, December, right up
Okay.
to the end, but I'm working on ways to close that and have us. I think from the beginning, we've been able to allocate our monies as expected by the grant. Spent them on time. We spent about 80 to 85% of the grant, and most of that stuff is upfront, one-time costs. Lumped amounts, and operation is about 50% in salaries. So we're looking right up there in fourth quarter. And I'm trying to close that, so we run out on New Year's Eve.
And in all the conversations we've had with the city, and specifically with Chief Hall, I don't know how interested they are in putting cash in. I think their idea would be that they would provide their own operators, which would be fine, but it doesn't do much to offset the ongoing technology costs and maintenance and things like that. And so, and you know, I get it. Nobody's got a ton of money laying around at all. And so it would be easy for them probably to provide bodies, but I never really felt like I got a commitment from them that they would be able to, or would even be interested in financially contributing. But we're interested.
Yeah, I just wonder how we continue that conversation, because I mean, you've got good data to show that there's positive results coming out of it. Is there a way to think of that as a cost savings? You know, if you're more efficient at solving some of those crimes, I don't know.
I can assure you there is one member of the council that really wants the city to be tied in and a partner in the real-time crime center. So
Oh, we
you
gotta
got
figure out how
one,
we get to
you
4.
just gotta find 3 more.
And that's my question. How do we do that? So.
Yeah, I mean, it would be an interesting conversation. Again, a lot of our successes are coming out of ALPR technology. They don't have a lot. I know we have for years been trying to get access to some of their traffic cameras, and I don't think the city's super excited about even letting their own police department have access to their traffic cameras. There seems to be quite a bit of resistance to giving police any kind of access to surveillance technologies. We've even approached them individually outside of the Spokane Police Department or the RTCC, and we got nowhere with access to the traffic cameras. That was at least the last update I got. So we are sharing as much as we can with them. And I think they're as engaged with us as they're able to be right now. Again, do I think we should be having those conversations and getting SPD involved? Absolutely. I do. So I don't know, you may have contact with the people making decisions there outside the police department and maybe check their temperature. It's effective.
Got half the week open to staffing, and the entire city of Spokane, they could be dedicated to their channels and their cases and have a shared impact.
Yeah, and no, we have access to software and programs that they don't have that are huge difference makers, but they are wildly expensive. And I think, you know, for us to bring, we just even use Peregrine as an example, to bring an agency the size of SPD in would probably significantly increase our cost of that system. And I think we would expect that they would just cover that. That's something that they would have to cover. Because I think that's what, $200,000 a year right now, just for an agency our size.
Does the 1.2 million that you're talking about include all personnel and the technology licenses moving forward?
Yes, without growth.
Without growth, okay.
It's salary, benefits, current projected subscriptions when they come due. And that's also not including if a company at the end of a 3-year contract wants to up the cost by 20% because they're doing so well, which we've seen happen with Flock. So that's within a 3 to 5% planned increase in like a year or two.
All right. Well, we'll get there. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Okay, I guess. Scott, we want to. Okay, so now we have two remaining items. We have the code enforcement, which Scott was going to present on, and then we have Jeff McMorris for our 2025 budget follow-up. What goes best as far as flow with these two?
Why don't I just do the code enforcement update?
Okay.
All first.
Let's do that.
Okay. Okay, so commissioners, in December, you all adopted a new placement code for our nuisance approach, and a couple of these slides are just refreshers of some things that Matt's civil team presented. So when that code was adopted, it actually put in place the code, it defined a code enforcement officer, what their authority was going to be. Really going to be the coordinator of our code enforcement activities, relying on the departments that we have in place already, whether it's planning, whether it's public works, whether it's our building, law enforcement, and helping to establish kind of an intake and a connection spot for this to achieve some of the desired outcomes. So if you go to the next slide, Ron, this is just a visual. This is not an all-inclusive list of potential code enforcement, code-related activities that may occur, but these are some common ones. Building department, derelict buildings, unpermitted structures. Planning, you'll have zoning violations, critical area impacts, shoreline violations. Public Works Department, we come across right-of-way obstructions, illegal dumping. Sheriff's Office, noise complaints, junk abandoned vehicles, nuisance properties. And of course, our civil team really helping to work alongside with civil enforcement and abatement agreements. So kind of a hub and spoke model, if you will. The intention is not to have everything come in through the code enforcement officer. That will overwhelm them. A lot of the triage will be still occur at the department level, but the intent would be to provide a broader and more comprehensive look as to the activities that we're seeing within the county through the code enforcement officer. They will then have the ability to work closely with civil to take the necessary steps through civil processes, not the criminal side, which we all know was not as responsive or did not get the outcomes that were desired in this. You'll have things that are kind of fire code related that will still stay within the building department because that is really their expertise and doesn't necessarily need to have code enforcement officer involved. So the intention here is to take from what the commissioners adopted in code, create the position. Ashley's team is already working on a class spec for this position in parallel with this briefing. So if you go to the next slide, Ron. Obviously, funding is the important piece here, and a recommendation would be to establish a fund that can be, in the event there aren't all dollars expended, would roll over to a future year. Jeff mentioned earlier the change to the interest income policy. The recommendation from the interest income that the building department generates year is about $400,000 annually. That could be the seed and the ongoing funding for this. We're estimating that the code enforcement officer position would be about $150,000 a year, fully loaded, salaries, benefits, taxes and everything. That would leave remaining for about $250,000 to focus on abatement activities, to clean up nuisance properties, that sort of thing. It's hard to project right now how much of that 250 would be used in any given year. Probably will be peaks, probably will be valleys, but the recommendation would be to start here, start with one position, start to track the activities, create the hub and spoke model, if you will, build the relationships throughout the county. Then monitor progress, monitor successes, and see how that funding can sustain going forward. In the event we're having great successes and outcomes that are beneficial for the community and that you all are seeing, but yet the abatement dollars that are available aren't sufficient. Another source of funds that the commissioners could look to in like a phase 2, if you will, would be tipping fees from solid waste to generate some additional abatement dollars that would be available. But this is the position itself really can't be funded out of just solid waste rates. It needs to be funded through other funds. So in the future, as we look ahead 5-10 years, this could be a self-sustaining fund and activity in the event that certain code enforcement activities and actions result in liens being placed against property, so we're not being willingly compliant. Those dollars could be received back in the future should properties be sold, but it's down the road. Right now, trying to establish a regular recurring source of funds, I think is really important. And this would be a recommendation for setting this thing up and getting underway in this year. I think that was my only slide. One remaining, Ron. Oh, yeah. So one question is, where does this position reside? Who does it report to? There's a couple different ideas. I'll start from the bottom working up. You could certainly slide it under public works or solid waste. There is a connection there. You could also put it under the building department. That's another connection. The other idea that was highlighted is possibly under the hearing examiner. Think about it as kind of like a Switzerland. It's a neutral entity, if you will. I've reached out to the building department, solid waste. They're both willing to do it. I haven't yet done the hearing examiner. I wanted to run it by you all. The hearing examiner does report to the board, but it might fit kind of nicely underneath there as a report to. But having it there, it really does kind of have that neutral look to it, but it could go in any of those locations. So this one really hasn't been decided yet. Wanted to present some different options to the board, see if you had any input onto where you thought it best resided, or if you're indifferent, we could evaluate all three of these and see what kind of works out based on the conversations that we had. So it doesn't need to be decided today. We still need to get going on the position establishment and the recruitment, but we do want to have at least this one identified here in the near term, so we know when the person comes aboard what the reporting structure looks like. So I think that was my last slide.
Yeah. Organizing the code enforcement officer under the building department makes the most sense to me, although I don't have a strong opinion. I do have some concerns about putting it under the hearing examiner. The hearing examiner's role is a neutral third-party decision maker, and if we have an enforcement branch that reports to them, whether or not that's ethically compliant or not, the optics are a concern for all. Fair enough.
I was just trying to think where are if somebody is reporting a property that would fall in this, who are they most likely to reach out to, other than their commissioner? And I was thinking of those three, it's like, I would think most likely building might be, of those three options, more people are probably gonna call building first. Yeah, so I would kind of think building makes the most sense too.
I think we could also go back and look at activities. I know Jameson had a lot of, he collected a lot of information from the departments that showed where a lot of the code related complaints came through. I think you also have a fair amount through planning as well, with people running businesses out of their homes. I know that's a common complaint as well, but certainly a lot through building for sure. Probably about, you look at probably building and sheriff and planning, there's probably a pretty equal amount to cross. I don't think there's the only answer or the right answer, but it just makes where we think it makes most sense to have those connections going, and it will be, this is gonna be a person who needs to be a self-starter, already aware of all of the activities that code enforcement does today, and knowing within a jurisdiction who to reach out to. So you just want to have that person who knows who they have a report up through is going to be important.
I would say hearing examiner. Maybe not the right place, but I'd like to see, yeah, if he has data, that'd be interesting. I would probably lean a bit towards building, just if you ask me for a gut reaction, but if there's any analysis or pros and cons that you think we should consider, I'm happy to hear that.
We'll do a little more work, look back at some of the data we collected and come back with kind of a.
Can I circle back on one question? So the interest income does seem like a good source to start with. But you said something about solid waste. Why are we not allowed legally to use solid waste fees towards the position? Or
Yeah, it's really.
or
this
can we
is-
use a portion as long as it's like 4 things related to solid waste? Because there will be solid waste that this individual will have to be working with property owners to get rid of. Right?
Yeah, there could be a portion of it, probably as it relates to solid waste abatement. But generally, the code enforcement position and
not-
activities are a general government activity.
Okay.
So that's why we didn't want to lean fully on solid waste, but it could be supplemented in the future to the extent that it's focusing truly on solid waste related activities.
So I mean, yeah, so I think maybe after year 1. We look at the data, how, all the types of calls for what types of things, and then we can adjust the funding scenario at that point, right?
Yep.
To be fair.
I think we'll have data behind us to be able to inform on what the future funding needs to look like, what the allocations of activities look like.
But yeah, building department seems fine. I mean, it's just gotta live somewhere. It's gonna touch planning, it's gonna touch building, it's gonna touch solid waste, so. It's gonna have to be somebody who can be very self-directed and really get up to speed on all of our codes and. Obviously work closely with Matt's office as well about any interpretations of codes, right? But. It's important that they have somebody that is, to check in with and to be accountable to.
Excellent. Thanks for the feedback. Just some next steps is we'll finalize the class spec and get that posted. We'll have to do some budget amendments to bring back forth to the commissioners to identify that interest, create a fund for it to be located with, and appropriate the dollars for this year to be able to spend on the position and the ability to have some nuisance activities and costs to be incurred. Okay.
Good. All right, that brings us to Jeff McMorris, the 2025 budget follow-up.
We'll start with apologies to the assessor, because an hour ago, we were way ahead of schedule.
Sorry, for most of that, I was in another meeting already, so I didn't know you were running ahead.
So just by way of a little history reminder, you recall when I started 5 years ago, give or take, budget was adopted at the general fund level. So if the department went over budget, they would talk to the budget office, and I'm over, Scott's under, we make it all match up, everybody's happy. And then decided having a bit more awareness at the commissioner level would be good. So we brought it down. Now budgets are at the department level versus at the general fund level countywide. So we've identified a few departments whose expenses are going to exceed budget for 2025. So for the budget office to pay these bills, we need additional authority from the board. So we have 3 groups coming in today to talk through where they're at and why. And a few other groups, we're watching final bills come in as year-end closure is in process. So there may be others. We're going to start today with the assessor's office on their particular budget.
Good morning. I think most of you know my boss, Deline, my executive assistant, who takes care of all of me, keeps things rolling. Yeah, You tries to. Yes, needless to say, of course, the email I got from Jeff last week that said I was being demanded to come down here and tell you how come I'm over basically $100,000. And it is 100% labor. We thought we had made the decisions to make it under. We had a residential supervisor position that we chose not to fund when he left. I also have 2 property information spots open right now that we can't not have those, but we had a point of time during the year right now where we are locked out of making changes in our system because the treasurer is calculating the tax bills. So we have usually about 6 weeks in here where we can't do process like our senior exemptions and things to that effect. So we thought that would get us okay. And just unfortunately, because of the contract that was negotiated, and you know, again, this is all labor. I mean, I'm under on my M&O about $30,000. So it is just labor. I guarantee you, not 1 hour of overtime is used by my office ever. So this is just the employees we have right now. And with the retro pay and the step increases and all of those, everything else, it's just put us over.
There's a signing bonus on your.
And the signing bonus, right?
Yeah, that came out to about $83,000 for our department. And that didn't include the additional salary for the rest of 2025. Once the compensation changes were made due to the contract, and several of our employees were placed at a step closer to where they were and then moved up one. So that contributed to about another $18,000 for us for 2025. That was not expected.
And we had an employee payout, again, when Jay left, when the supervisor left, about $9,000.
We had 2 other people that left during the year that
Yeah.
also created one-time payouts. So all in all, with all of the things that we just spoke about, it came to about $116,000. And as Tom said, our M&O budget is 274, and a lot of that is earmarked for mailings.
Postage for our notices.
Have to pay or have to mail every year. So we don't have a lot of wiggle room within our M&O to help us. So we usually try to manage these kinds of situations with staff. When someone leaves, we try to wait a little while. If someone's on FMLA, we're shorthanded. Those are ways that we try to make up any shortfalls that we would have seen. This year was a little bit of a shock for us.
Right. And I do have an employee, senior employee that's going to retire mid-year. So that'll help us a little bit in this year. in
Yeah,
26,
we're also
but
looking ahead at 26 and
Right.
27 to see how we're gonna get through
keep
those
going.
years without having the same situation.
But is that person also gonna have a large payout?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Unused vacation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
It's like a curse always. Yeah.
Generally speaking, the county hasn't had departments budget for the payouts. Usually you just kind of try to leave it open long enough.
Right.
Before you refill it to make up
Mhm.
for the payout. Usually some of it's offset. If it's a long-term person, they're leaving it a high step.
Yep.
And you hire a lower step, so you generally work that together, but it hasn't been county practice to have cushion for payouts.
And again, that position will not be funded. We won't fill that position at all going forward.
So did the decisions get made? So some of these union contracts that were signed, it was after the initial budget information had been prepared?
Yeah, mid-year.
Right.
It was in July.
And they were retroactive, which
Yeah.
is a little more unusual, not unheard of. So there would have been no way to knowingly know exactly what market was gonna be.
Yeah.
Or what signing bonuses would be.
Yeah, it's because we started negotiation in a previous fiscal year, right? So we started negotiation, we passed to the next fiscal year. So because it wasn't negotiated to fruition by the beginning of the next cycle, basically, those step increases, salaries, right, all of that came into play later. So it's really because there was a crossover in years of negotiation. Had we negotiated before the end of the year, those all would have been captured in the future year budget.
We would have known the numbers too. Right. Crunch earlier.
Well, and in my case, the two property information positions are two of my lowest paid ones too, so they aren't gonna help. Having them open is not helping as much as if it was a higher paying position.
So what are our options here? How do we? What are the decisions in front of us today?
We need to pay these bills. So
Just reprimand.
they would be part of a budget amendment process that would come forward in the future to close out 25 appropriately, because the payroll was paid in the last payroll of the year was paid in 26, although 80% of it will accrue back to 25 because the work days were in 25. There's the money in the 26 budget, so everybody got paid. We're not getting red flags with the payroll software or anything, but we do need to make those accruals back, and we can't make those accruals back until the board has given budget authority, so there's enough money there to accrue it back to. So I'd say in all the cases coming forward, the money's been spent, so to speak, we have to pay it. It's just, great thing about Workday, we're gonna be able to watch things closer next year. All departments will be able to see stuff more in real time and see earlier if situations like this are coming up and react earlier. But I don't think not paying the bill is a valid option.
So is this something we would do on a consent agenda at a future date? Is this a head nod today? How do we do this, Tessa?
Yep, head nod today, we're looking for kind of the generalized direction that you're in support of us doing a budget amendment now live in the system to accommodate for these shortfalls. And then we'll very formally bring it through the budget amendment process with a slew of others. We have some for our debt refunding that we did the end of the year that have created some additional accounting entries that need budget. So we'll be bringing a slew of budget amendments to you at a consent agenda. They'll be briefed ahead of time. And so, yeah, we're looking for head nods today. And the only funding source at this point, we have used most all of our unclassified or operating contingency that we set aside for 25. So we are looking at a use of fund balance for all of the three you're going to hear today at this point.
Are you guys good with us making these accounting?
Commissioner CUNY?
Yeah, so as we look at that, it's gonna basically come out of fund balance for 2025, but we also had revenues exceeded what our we had revenues come in that exceeded our budgeted. So we have revenue, but unbudgeted revenue for 2025 that we can use. So it's not truly coming out of the fund balance per se, it's just using down the revenues that we got in that we didn't anticipate.
We did increase the sales tax projection to 2%, was it?
For the 2026 budget, for
Yeah, not-
2025.
2025, we did not, it came in higher. Yeah. We did not account for that in the budget. So in that regard, you're not gonna see the fund balance go down because of this, because our revenues took it enough higher, it can easily cover.
Ticked up the second half of the year.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think Commissioner CUNY's right. I think there won't be I don't anticipate the budget amendment will be, hey, we use fund balance to cover these. There'll be additional revenues that are coming in that the commission didn't budget for, that will be used to cover these particular ones.
Those revenues technically hit the fund balance since they're not accounted for, but yes, we'll be phrasing it as Commissioner
Yes.
said.
But I think it just helps to know that it's not, we're not taking out of that known fund balance that we keep talking about, that we talked about last year. It's coming out of additional revenues that unanticipated revenues that we have not finalized yet for the 25 year. So I'm in favor. Head nod.
And seeing the head nods here, so we will do that one accordingly. Any other questions? Police department.
You explained what happened.
We're good.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, and we will work closer now with Workday, with the budget office, and we'll probably need to ask for an increase in our budget. Or you can tell me to decrease the staff. those are my only two options, so. Okay. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Aaron with pretrial services is up next.
We're progressively gonna get meaner.
Wait a minute. This one's spot maybe, Aaron.
I appreciate Jeff's warm invite down here today. Thank you, Jeff. I was a little worried when I got the email initially.
Warm or hot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Guys are.
So, Mary from Pretrial Services, obviously, thank you for having me. We're very much in the same boat as Tom and the assessors. 99% of our budget is labor. We did not account for or could predict the 1553 negotiations, so that hit us very hard. I mean, right off the bat, between the signing bonus and the retro payout, we were looking at about $22,000 that we just didn't have in our budget. I was in contact with the budget office late last week, and the number I was given says in my letter there, we were short about $31,000 to $35,000. And that is entirely from the 1553 negotiations. Like Tom, we actually underspent our M&O budget. We only have $6,000 in M&O, and we didn't even hit that this year. So we run a really tight ship. 11 and a half full-time employees that work 7 days a week altogether. We cover the whole week. So we run a really lean ship, and yeah, this is really just what put us over for this year. I don't really have any other explanation as to our budget deficit.
Another round of head nods on this one. Yeah. Seeing that.
This is pretty high on paper. There's a watermark.
Yeah.
Okay, come on. I don't know how you didn't hit your 6,000.
Percentage from 6,000.
This is really nice paper.
The hand notes next time.
There's a texture to it and everything.
Right. Just a quick question.
Yeah.
Does any of this, does it affect budgets for next year in terms of, or this year, now that we're in 26?
We predicted there'd be an increase across the
Would've been
board.
factored.
right?
Departments would have known the labor contract impacts as they built their 26 budgets. So I would say that should be factored in. I don't know that will be true of the next group because of some different nuances. But I think for the first two, they should have been there.
But I understand. The one area that never could predict is when an employee retires or leaves, they have a large PTO payout. Because our practice has not been to budget for those, we try to absorb it with vacancy adjustments or vacancies that occur during the year. More difficult for a department like ours who doesn't have as many employees. If they stay fully staffed during the year, that is going to, even though they do everything, management of their budget, with their head count and their M&O, that will put them on the budget. Just the nature of our lack of ability to predict those things in smaller departments like.
There'll be another amendment you will see. What were you thinking? This early February will probably have the amendment sheet around.
Early to mid February. But we'll get it in the system, so all accounting entries, things can keep flowing for the year-end process.
Thinking about next year, this year, later on, I wonder if well, budget is an authorization spend, right? So I think it's good to have people say why they got over. I think that's important. I'm wondering if during the budget process, we can have some data point that shows, as we're looking at each department budget, here's the X percentage that we are through the year, and here's X percentage on the spend.
That's one we did start, I think, second quarter last year. One
I remember seeing
caveat
it
though
at some point.
from the budget office, we can only tell you what's been entered.
What's been what?
What's been entered in the system. Like 2 weeks ago, my personal savings and checking account was huge. We just bought a house. It's back to normal. And so if you would have looked at the bank 2 weeks ago, there was a lot of money in Jeff and Sarah's account. We knew there was also a big outstanding check. We don't know what those outstanding checks are. And some departments, for example, we helped the department catch up January through October 2 weeks ago. And so there are departments that do kind of wait till year end. for different reasons. Some is by practice, some staffing issues. And so if there's been a bunch of money spent, you know, the payroll processes, but for departments that have a lot of spending outside of payroll, we don't know it until the check clears, so to speak. We don't know. We don't know what's on the credit card purchasing. We had one department recently asked us, well, how would we know what we spent? I'm like, you're the only one who would know what you spent. There's no way I can know what's on your credit card. There's no way you know what's on my credit card. Because of that house, it's really high right now. We've done some stuff, some stuff. You know, but you don't know that.
I'm just trying to think of a way to standardize it, maybe when they submit it, maybe the timing doesn't line up, but at some point, there's a time when we can ask the departments whether they have any reason to believe that they anticipate a challenge hitting their budget, just so we get early conversations.
I think each quarter we should.
Yeah.
It's just, we can't validate.
Yeah.
Whether it's.
But at least if we're asking, I just wanna be, I know they're trying to do their best, but we want people to know that we're tracking. We need to stay within what's been authorized unless you come ask for more authority.
I would suggest a end of Q3, so early part of October where Jeff's team will have the snapshot point in time, what it looks like through end of September. And it gives the opportunity for the departments just to say, hey, just like you suggested, Commissioner.
We are planning on doing it quarterly for the board. So if you guys see something that doesn't look quite right, just with collective wisdom in the room, we might spot something that just somebody has more information than other people to ask those questions.
But obviously, this is a very reasonable, it's understandable. Just want to be on the lookout.
Well,
So,
these two departments aren't gonna have a lot of
No.
big other charges. It's just personnel.
When you're 90 to 99% labor, that is what it is.
Reduce our paper budget for next year.
Thank you, Aaron.
No, thank you. Thank you, Gordon.
Very nice. My friend.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
The sheriff's office will be coming in.
Their budget overage, over or under free trial services? Just kidding.
Within the 800,000.
Josh, are you on the meeting at noon?
Yeah. 4 of us are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just so we know, we have a special meeting with the health district, and so Commissioner CUNY, Jordan, Waldorf, and I all have to be on that at noon, so. Well, I mean, they're not gonna start without us, so if we're all late, I mean, if we're all late, they'll.
That's perfect.
If we're all late, they'll wait, so.
That's actually better. So we have some updated numbers we just want to pass around so you guys have something. to have numbers.
In the interest of recognizing that you guys like presentations, these numbers are not static. We've still got a lot of stuff that's outstanding. We've been clearing that out the last several days. And so things like P cards, expense reports won't encumber until the auditor's office clears it. Once everybody gets a copy of that. Basically, we had 1.4 of unexpected costs with the exception, but it's included in the vehicles. That's what got us to the 750. You know, without that, we would have been all 700 to the good. I know there was discussion early on, back in June with the vehicles. We were still at that point on track to make budget. And then you'll see the cascading effect of different things, whether it's the MDCs. IT required us to update those because of Windows 11. We could not continue using those. We had the additional overtime holidays. And we had an unexpected helicopter repair. And then the bonus payouts and the sell back make up that 1.4.
Sorry, can you help me understand the first section of the document and then the second?
Yeah, so that first section is
Asking
just
for
a
the numbers.
snapshot.
Okay.
Friday. So if you look at Workday, we're currently over $1 million to the good on budget. We're under budget right now because the auditor's office hasn't moved salary for the last payroll back into 2025. So that's why it's broke out to two different numbers. We've got basically the budget balance of Workday. When I brought that up, I think it's 1.09 right now, but 1.15. Less the payroll that's sitting in 2026 that needs to be moved. And I don't know if that's going to be automatic in the future or if that's going to be always something that we have to manage on two different levels until it gets moved.
So that's a negative 747.
Correct. We're over budget 747.
But then how does that compare with the numbers below?
The numbers below are identifying how we got there.
Oh, okay.
So the 1.427 million is our unanticipated cost going into the year. So we didn't receive a budget for vehicles, the MDCs that we had to replace. And I know, I did two presentations for vehicles. One was in January and one was in June 3rd. And I said that, we to basically put our new hires into vehicles, we needed to order a minimum of 7 or 10. I think I said 10, but we pared it down to 7 for patrol at the time. But then we added a couple unmarked vehicles for our investigative units as well. But that being said, and I said I would try to absorb it. And at the time it looked like we could, but once all the other unanticipated things came in, the helicopter repair and bonus payouts that weren't budgeted for and sellback that wasn't budgeted for, it pushed us right over the edge. We would have been okay had not been those things.
These with the numbers we know right now.
Yeah, with the numbers we know right now, that's the problem is, and I would have loved to anticipate this a little bit earlier in the year or a little bit before, but I didn't know we were going to be over until last week when the budget office let us know that the projections were, and it's been fairly difficult to pull numbers from Workday. So we were operating under the assumption that we were still under budget based on the numbers that we were seeing.
Really, the only outcome of that would have been, we would have been talking to you earlier saying, hey, we're not gonna make it. I mean, I don't know that there was anything that we could have not spent money on to avoid this.
Sheriff's correct. And the reason I bring that up is because I would have come in here earlier and said we were projecting to be over had I known. Just because I like to be transparent about that.
I mean, my memory serves me correct. I mean, and I don't remember which month you guys were. The last time you came in to talk about
June.
Was it June that you were in? At that point, I think you were saying you were going to be 1.1 to the good. You were going to have a surplus of 1.1. That was after you'd been in originally to talk about the cars that I believe you said you were pulling from the wages, salaries and benefits line, because you said that you had the capacity in there. And I mean, so all of these purchases highlighted in blue came after June.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, one of the other things I'd like to mention, Commissioner, with that 1.1 in June's, we're continuing to learn stuff. I am personally on Workday. One of the things that would have probably dropped that by about $700,000 was extra or left for retirement. It used to be outside of salary. It was in the M&O section, and it got moved up into 2101, 2102 for dental and medical. At that point, when I was doing the analysis for payroll, I was taking PeopleSoft because there was a lag between dropping payroll into Workday. So I wanted the immediate. So I was running analysis in PeopleSoft, and when I would run that, and I just ran it again yesterday to see if it occurs, that left retirement never drops in there. And it makes sense because the only thing that was hitting PeopleSoft in 25 was payroll. So I was running analysis on payroll for PeopleSoft. I was running M&O and everything else on Workday. And that was basically 800,000, 700,000 that was going right between the two analysis because of the two systems.
So it wasn't in his estimate when he said we'll be 1.1 to the good.
In June.
He didn't realize he was not accounting for the $800,000 going to salary that was in a different budget system back then. Right, I'm gonna put that in layman terms. You start talking about budget lines and account numbers, like we all get lost. This is sorry.
I think, I mean, the two departments that were in here earlier, I mean, they laid it out just as you have, and I appreciate you explaining what happened. How are we gonna prevent this from happening again this year?
Well, we've, you know.
I just jokingly, like, I feel like Professor McGonagall when I look at, it's like, it's always you three, you know? Well, whether it's Harry, Ron, and Hermione, it's always you three. So I
don't get the reference, I think that's,
yeah, I don't know.
Harry Potter though, so
Yeah,
that's.
It's a Harry Potter joke, come on. No.
but,
Those
it's, you know, we have a flat budget, you know, from 26 to 20 or 25 to 26, and we had to cut some things, and one of those things is overtime. We're gonna do our best to try to mitigate overtime, and we are getting full, and there shouldn't be an excuse for being over. But if you remember, there's things that pop up, like we had a significant event that happened over in Chelan County where we had to send people. That's expensive. And it not only is it expensive to send them over there and pay people while they're over there and all that stuff, it's expensive to backfill them.
Yeah.
Two extra holidays that the president awarded costs us $150,000. What do you think a 30-day operation in another county costs us?
I'm sure.
And you peel that out of the budget, you know, maybe we may even be good.
And I don't want to get to the point where we have to tell some of our external partners no, but we're saying no to a lot of things this year that are comfortable.
Yeah.
But we have to.
That would be the situation, and I mean, that's gotta be, I mean, say we were completely out of money and Chelan did make that call. I mean, at what point do we just say, we can't afford it? Well, I'm sorry, guys, our commitment is to Spokane County and we can't afford to help a county, three, four counties away.
Vehicles in June, that hadn't happened yet, so, you know.
Yeah.
So.
It's and some of that going forward, you know, like some of the helicopter costs, we're very confident at Waspik that we're gonna get this helicopter funding bill in place. To the degree they fund it, I don't know, but even if they only gave the 4 air support units $1.5 million, that would be a significant help to us in offsetting those costs. I mean, that alone could have paid for the repair of that helicopter that we had to drop that kind of money into. So that will be helpful. Again, to what degree the state funds it, I don't know. And yes, we did have that one significant instance, but I will tell you, far more frequently, we are calling our SWAT team in on overtime in the middle of the night to go to Stevens County, Pend Oreille County, Lincoln County, Ferry County, all of those counties that don't have a tactical response team. And
is there any, like, do they help pay for that at all?
Well, I don't know what kind of intergovernmental agreements we have with them, like, and I don't know that we do. So, and again, they can't afford it. And, you know, the situations they're calling us up there for are, you know, their officers are in danger, they're getting shot at, and they don't have the equipment, the tools, and the experience to deal with it. And so we do it because we want their communities to be safe and cops to be safe, but it's not free. And so, you know, if you guys want to entertain conversations with our neighboring jurisdictions about what that might be, you know, I think.
Well, I mean, it's, I get it. I mean, it's not an apples to apples comparison, you know, because like this is danger, this is public safety, but it's like, I mean, we charge them for medical examiner services, we charge them, you know, for, I mean, anything else, I mean, I don't know, is there anything else we provide service to other counties that we don't charge back to them? I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know.
The answer is yes. So.
No, I mean, that's not
Oh, not.
sheriff,
police,
not sheriff related. I mean, in any of our other departments that provide a service, I think there is a bill that comes later. So I mean, I don't know. Is it like that in Western Washington? Do the counties over there
Yeah,
provide?
we all have
I don't
all
know.
alleyways and like if you get over into some of the more populated areas like King County and Pierce County, things like that, a lot of the local jurisdictions will all provide members and provide funding for, they'll stand up a regional SWAT team. But frankly, they have the financial resources to do that, and none of these smaller jurisdictions have the financial resources to do that. Aside from maybe Liberty Lake.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, we just tend to not send bills to other counties.
Yeah.
For that kind of stuff.
So following up on your question, Commissioner Kearns, so as we get into the new year, and hopefully everything is in Workday, right?
Well, now I know about left retirement sitting in it.
So things always do come up, but I guess my desire would be that you're actively managing your budget to address that. So, you get you get a repair bill for the helicopter you didn't, but then something else is gonna have to give, right? Because there's only so much budget allocated total.
That's one of the problems with those. I mean, we don't have a lot. The only significant place we can cut in our budget is personnel. That's the most expensive part of our budget, and that we can cut to make any sizable difference is the amount of people we have on the road.
And in the past, stopgap expansion chamber, so to speak, was the positions. We're on a razor's edge now. It really has last quarter.
Oh, sorry.
Well, and I will tell you that as we're trying to drive the overtime numbers down, and now that we have lieutenants that have only one platoon that they're responsible for, we are doing everything we can to ensure that we are not generating overtime in places where we don't have to. It used to be that, because we had, our patrol people are subject matter experts and do the training. We do a lot of training and needs be because we have very inexperienced people and because of the state mandates and everything. So we're now making sure that our lieutenants are taking a look at how that overtime is scheduled, increasing communication between the training division and the patrol division, make sure our people have enough time to help schedule that stuff. And instead of just paying overtime, making sure we're adjusting schedules where appropriate, or even only giving 1 or 2 people a day off as we're mandated by contract instead of giving 3, because you think you have the capacity to do that without generating overtime, but they didn't account for the person who was going to have to spend their shift out at the training center, training our people. We're making sure that they're doing that the right. It gets to be a very complicated shell game.
And I know that this wasn't you who, it says, I know your predecessor had said the training center was going to be able to bring down training costs because the trainings could be here locally rather than
Yes.
somewhere else, and that we would also be able to rent out space in that building. Have we had success in that?
So as far as being able to bring in training, yes, still successful. The biggest challenge that we're dealing with right now, as far as training, is the state mandates that have come down. Trying to get our people trained to a place where they feel competent and confident in what they're out doing. Our people are afraid to act right now. They're afraid of going to prison for making a mistake. They're confused by the language of that the legislature put in these bills. And without going into a whole lot of detail about it, we are having to train a ton of hours just to have our people feel confident out there.
But is that state training stuff that's happening here, or are you having to send them?
I will tell you, this is,
the area?
well, no, but most of it's here.
It is, okay,
Right.
okay.
Right, and so when we budget for like our training and travel budget, we budget as if we're not going to be able to get the training in here. And then we go to work making sure the training gets here, and we're very, very successful. Now, there are classes that are not offered here that we have to send our major crimes investigators to stay up with the minimum requirements for the IIT legislation. I know I'm using a lot of acronyms, but just know there's some that is not offered here and we can't get the class here. So we do have to send some people out for that. But a majority of the stuff that is mandated, we have subject matter experts either here or we're able to get the state to hold a class here. one of the things we're currently working with, a huge Band-Aid that is coming into play this year, that was put in place 3 years ago, is our patrol tactics 24-hour required training for every certified peace officer in the state, to include myself. I think it's 2028, you have to have everybody mandated to be trained by. And there's not a single agency in this state that is even close to being able to meet that mandate. So we're currently putting together a coalition between ourselves, Spokane Police Department, a couple of our surrounding counties, to get instructors freed up to where we can host that training out at the regional training center and get everybody in this region through in the next year and a half. And we're doing that because it would be incredibly expensive to send people to Beer in. The state has not been hosting enough courses to help us cover the demand. So we're having to go out and do it ourselves.
So there might be some excess in your travel budget that you could put towards unexpected other.
Generally
costs.
there is, but it's tough to anticipate, like right now. We can anticipate exactly where that will be, but generally year over year, we are underspending it because we do finance it. So. Commissioner Jordan, can you raise your hand?
I know some of us need to go to a meeting. I just wanted to say, I think for this, well, first of all, you know, to go from a prediction of we're gonna be under by 1 million to, this is a pretty big overage. And the budget is the authority to spend. So I guess what I would just ask is that I would prefer to have advanced communication. So that we're, if we're told that we have authority under this budget line and then that's not the case, we should know that. That's what I'm thinking would be a better process for this. I think that's a reasonable request.
It's absolutely reasonable. A lot of it has to do with the learning sidetracked with payroll implementation. And I was looking at Workday, but what I wasn't looking at or anticipating was the level of the last payroll. It's going to need to come back into it.
Hopefully those issues will be this year.
And then up to last year, it was the holiday. The helicopter just happened. And so, but I would agree, it's a very reasonable expectation. So.
And hopefully the visibility will be better ahead of time, but once everything is all transitioned over.
Well, I mean, yeah, more real-time information you can have, then you can be communicating that, Sheriff, with your lieutenants about the overtime, right? Like, hey, guys, looks like we're over what we had budgeted. Let's try and.
Yeah.
Just having more real-time information rather than lagging information should be better for training decisions, being able to move money around as needed.
And I don't want to give you the idea that what we're doing is frivolous. I mean, it's not, and we can't avoid a lot of it, but we need to do everything we can to reduce it. The reality of it is for us to be providing what we're providing for the number of people we have, it's going to require overtime. It just in the last 5 years since the legislation, the number of times we call out our SWAT team has more than 5 times itself of what it used to be. And it's not just us, it's across the state. Because of the way the use of force legislation came across and the requirements it put in, our SWAT team is used far more than it was ever used in the past, to where they're exhausted. So.
We're going to be some training this year for a number of our staff for report writing within Workday. That's going to give us a better snapshot of what's going on. So I think that's
good.
And nods on this one also?
Yep.
So those are the ones going.
Thank you. House to be.
Yes. Okay, well, that does it for our morning. We will adjourn for the morning and we will reconvene for our 2